Hello, everybody, and welcome to SOS 14. My name is Drew. In game, I go by Coffee, and I am joined by my new friend, the wonderful Shads.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year.
We are really excited to bring to you SOS 14, a new setup. We're going to be starting with groups into a single elimination bracket. And first, we're going to be bringing to you Stargaze versus Fantasy.
Yeah, so Stargaze, popular team over here at IPL, they were in high ink. They stepped in to fill in, and actually, I believe, came second or third.
They did come second. They beat us. I'm a luau player. They came second, and they also knocked Saishin Shitai into losers, and they did take one game off of priority. A very talented and exciting team.
And on the other side, we have Fantasy. I'm not too familiar with them. I see a player named Stormy on their roster, so I have to wonder if that is the same Stormy that was on Persistence before it disbanded. Well, that's something that we'll have to worry about later, though, because we are just about to get started on Tower Control Anchovy Games. So we have to expect the Glooga. I would assume Yeet is going to run a Glooga. And we also see Lost. So here we go. Yeet on the Gloogas as expected. It's a vanilla one, so he will have Mines and Inkjet followed up by an Octo Shot. Looks like a Firefin Scope and not a Firefin Scope, a regular scope, excuse me. And a Junior for the side of Fantasy. And then on Stargaze's side, we have Gloogas, the Enzap, Ensa, a Splatter Shot, and a Splatter Scope. And things are already getting messy down in mid as Lost on the Carbon is trying to go after picks 2 down on each team, and 30 seconds in.
A lot of trades happening so far. I think something to watch out for is Bandit on the Charger, a very aggressive Charger. If he can get into a good position, it's going to be really hard to get him out.
Yeah, but it looks like right now Yeet's got them on the run a little bit. And unfortunately, he drops there. He's going to have to get back up on that flat, and that's going to give Bandit time to reposition. He was all the way up in their base within the first minute, which is pretty impressive.
He is doing really well here to make space for his team. You can see the entire map is basically yellow. Stargaze has a lot of map control, and Fantasy's pushing back, and that tower is going to be moving to the first checkpoint.
Yeah, so kind of a bit of a slow start. We are 3 minutes And it's 30 seconds in, roughly, and it's only just now getting to the first checkpoint, but it's looking like Stargaze is going to be pushing up very quickly. Panda is going around on the left, trying to charge up armor, repair their teammates. Does manage to take out the Kenta shot. Looks like he might try and go after Yeet's jump, I want to say that's Yeet's jump.
It isn't. Stargaze is doing really well here, just continuing this push, alternating their specials and just making it really hard for Fantasy to get back in position in a defensive place.
And they're doing great. You see Yeet back up in front again, unfortunately going down to Lost, who is a phenomenal Carbon player. I don't think we've mentioned that. She's going to push up, try and get the rest of Stargaze out. Looks like that's a triple for her. Last one is in mid. They're going to be running back a little bit. So that's the end of the first push, but we have chewed through a lot of time. 2 minutes 45 seconds on the clock, and Fantasy has yet to get a single point on the board.
Looks like Lost is gonna just become a little bit of a nuisance here, just saying, I want to take that fan. Oh, but ends up going down. I think it was 3 down on the side of Fantasy, and it looks like Stargaze is going to have no problem coming back in, Yeet making his presence known, but unfortunately goes down to Luke. Good awareness.
Luke manages to get a second one down in the trade. Stargaze is still pushing up, though. We see their chargers on the fan. They do have Ray ready, so that Ray will be invaluable for pushing in to counter the other charger's Ray. And there is the other charger's Ray, so looks like they're going to have to jump out because they're too damaged to counter Rays just from the plat. So Bandit's unfortunately going to waste that Ray a little bit. Oh, and he unfortunately goes down to a really well-placed suction bomb. And on that tower, trying to charge up armor some more. As Fantasy finally reaches checkpoint 1, and the Stingray is out to try and force them off. Panda launching armor unfortunately gets taken out by the Stingray. I'm not sure if it managed to go off in time. And now we see Yeet flying with that inkjet.
Yeet just looking to push Bandit back, get him out of position. And look at it, he's ready to go on this flank already. Great distracting play by Yeet, and is really causing just havoc in the backline for Fantasy, although Lost calls it out and gets him out of there.
Yeah, Lost taking Yeet down is a very, very good thing for Fantasy right there, because he is providing a lot of the aggression and harassing that backline, and having Yeet not in his face will help Bandit reposition. Whilst now pushing up, trying to get a couple more picks. He did manage to get one. Stingray is out on the side of Stargaze, so that will halt that tower in the tracks temporarily.
But the tower is moving back, and we're not far off from matching the score that Stargaze got in that first push. Moving up into this first checkpoint, we might have a lead change here, and we do.
We do right in the last 30 seconds, so Stargaze wants to make something happen. They're going to have to push up very aggressively because getting to that second checkpoint can be kind of difficult if you have an entire team up on that plat. Looks like there ends up going to be the one riding tower. You can see that the charger on the other side is already taking pot shots at him, trying to keep him off that tower as much as possible, not managing to hit them, which is unfortunate because that if he could take out that ink armor, that would be very helpful.
Now Yeet might be hunting down Bandit right now because Bandit did, I believe, jump out with Ray, and this is going to be dangerous. Hard for, I think, that Squib on the tower to dance around. They're doing well, very close to lead, but they need to get back on tower.
A nice triple there for the zap. And that was clutch.
That really was. I thought that was gonna be a GG Stingray from Bandit, but the zap did very well to get the triple and be dancing on that tower, and that is gonna be the first game going to Stargaze.
Now, Stargaze was in control for a lot of that game. They did slip a little bit when Lost started kind of wreaking havoc with them on that Carbon. The fact that they were able to push back in and retake that lead in overtime does show a very good presence of mind. A lot of teams will panic. Moving on, though, we have Splat Zone's Inkblot Art Academy. So what are your thoughts on this stage?
I think this is such a classic stage, especially for Splat Zones. I expect to see Yeet stay on those Glugas and push Jet so people can start to take the opposing team's plat. I think it's really easy to get aggressive here, get somebody into bats, and really lock teams out from coming back in. But a good organized team is able to group up and start to push back in, sometimes from the left, sometimes from the right. It's going to be interesting to see if we can move the Chargers onto top mid and really get that aggressive presence and standing.
I expect both the Chargers to at least swap to Firefin if they're going to stick with Chargers. E-Leader can be pretty oppressive on the stage if you get it set up on that top mid tower. You can reach most of the plat from there. I don't know if we'll see any of these teams use E-Leader Vogue, especially considering how aggressive the two Chargers like to play. Lost will probably be staying on that Carbon, which, I mean, she's an absolute goddess with it, so I would not want to see her on anything else, quite frankly.
Absolutely. I think both teams are going to be looking to take out the opposing team's skirmisher. I'm thinking about getting rid of Yeet, making sure that he can't approach the backline, and trying to make sure that Lost can't approach Stargaze's backline either. Once they got into that backline, started causing that chaos, they were getting a lot of value. Even if they were getting 1-2 picks in a trade, it really allowed their team to paint up mid and follow up and capitalize on that space they create.
Absolutely. And we're kicking things off, so looks like both sides do have the Fire Fin. We see a Kensa on the side of Stargaze, I think. Yes, it is a Kensa, so I'd assume that is going to be Yeet. So he's ditching the Glugas in favor of Booyah Bombs. And then on the side of Fantasy, we can see Wasp still on the Carbon. They still have an Inkjet armor. Important note, this is the Auto Bomb Rain Carbon, so we will not be seeing any Burst Bomb combo flicks. And Fantasy already has the zone and pushing it down past the 80-point mark. Wasp unfortunately goes down there to the splatter shot. It's a trade bandit bomb rushing zone to try and make some time. Looks like Booyah Bomb did come out. Might get the jump. And then unfortunately is going to have to jump out probably here in this situation. He's very pushed up. So he swapped over to that gal. Unfortunately, Lost managed to take him down without much of an issue. So we'll have to see really how that works out for him and when fighting a Carbon. Lost is just going to hang out underneath that plat right there. Or just flicking ink up over, trying to get some hits, trying to maybe get a fall-off kill if they're lucky.
Yeah, Lost is taking really good advantage of their armor and getting into aggressive positions, knowing that she can live just a couple more hits and manage to get a couple picks. Early in the game, she was able to get banded, and I think that just gave them a good start to this match. Look at how she just handles that drop like this, getting 2.
Totally a very nice double, possibly a triple. Yes, it is. No, it is not. That Kenta shot just barely managed to survive. He's got to solo cap that zone, or at least stall it enough for his team. He does manage to stall and get the cap with help from a friend, and somebody jumps out on the side of Fantasy. So, a big first push, and the first 2 minutes we already have almost 1 knockout, and now Fantasy has a pretty hefty penalty to choose through. Fantasy's already back in control of the zone, though. You can see Bandit does have that bomb rush ready for any attempted push-ins. Curiously, he seems to be favoring taking the right-hand side of the zone rather than taking that top mid part. Oh, and that was a nice snipe there from Stargaze's Charger. I'm not quite sure who that is, given since they have a nickname.
I believe that is Vesta.
Oh, yes, that would make sense, actually. That's probably Vesta.
Yeah. Who must just be subbing in for Stargaze today. I don't believe they have a dedicated Charger, as far as I know.
As far as I'm aware of either, you can see she's up on that top mid position we have talked about before, having to drop a little bit to avoid getting sniped out of there by Bandit. Stargaze now chewing through their time. They do not have a giant penalty like Fantasy does, so they have the opportunity to get some big points here. It does look like they are unfortunately going to have the zone taken from them by Bandit's Booyah Bomb.
They do get the zone back, but Fantasy did end up losing 3 members, and that penalty is going to keep winding down for Stargaze, who's not too far off.
Yes. Stargaze did not have as nearly as substantial of a penalty, so that really plays into their advantage. They've already cheered through all of it, and they're only 25-ish, 30-ish points off from getting the lead. And so far, it doesn't seem like they're going to let Fantasy get in at all, really, is what it boils down to. Bomb Rush is out, Ink Armor is out. That's going to take out two people. There's one on each side down. That's going to be the lead in favor of Stargaze. Unfortunately, two of them go down, so it's looking like Fantasy's going to have a chance to cap the zone and maybe bring something back.
They will get the zone here. Still a long way to go. Definitely time for Stargaze to come back and have another push to stop Fantasy from getting the lead back. Unless Fantasy can get aggressive here and lock them back out just as Stargaze did to them.
Luke, unfortunately, not able to pick Vesta off lift that Inkjet, which would have been a very critical pick if he had managed to do that. She is quite limited in standing on that upper left area, though. The Bomb Rush is out, as well as the Booyah Bomb. Well-placed specials, which do help cap the zone, but unfortunately two down on the side of Stargaze again, so it's not going to do much other than add to Stargaze's penalty a bit. Final 5 seconds of the match, we are looking at a 3v4 situation. The second bomb launcher is out to try and stave off Stargaze from coming in. Bomb Rush comes, Booyah Bomb comes out, Bomb Rush comes out, Ink Armor comes out. Every single special from Stargaze is pushing in. One down on the side of Fantasy, one down on the side of Stargaze now, and unfortunately for Fantasy, Stargaze manages to cap that zone, so it will be a 2-0 in their favor.
I really thought Fantasy started so strong, but in that push by Stargaze, they really locked them out. After that, it just kind of became a back and forth, but I think the special coordination we saw from Stargaze was just too good. The Bomb Rush Booyah it's really hard to paint over that no matter what you do, unless you want to try and do some sort of specials of your own.
Yeah, it really just the coordination shows that they have very good communication with each other. Obviously, we can't hear their comms right now, but to have that level of coordination, you need to have a good amount of communication. So they do a really great job working in sync. Fantasy, though, nothing to sneeze out. They did an excellent job as well.
Absolutely. Hopefully, Fantasy is a new team that we'll see a lot more of. I know some of them are free agents. It'd be exciting to see some more from them.
Absolutely.
Now, Shads, why don't we take a quick break before round 2 starts? I know we have some exciting action to come.
Sounds good. Stick around, everyone. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to SOS 14. We are in round 2, Stratus versus Rising Wave. I'm Shads, joined by Drew, and honestly, that first set was really great.
It was really great. A great even set. I know it was 2-0 in favor of Stargaze, but I think both games could have gone either way. And hopefully these two teams will keep up the excitement. We have Stratus versus Rising Wave, as you mentioned.
So, Rising Wave, they've been in several SOS at this point. They've been streamed a couple times. Recognized several players on their team. Morsa probably is the one that's most familiar to people that aren't completely familiar with everyone, as they used to be on the sponsor team Prophecy. Stratus, I have never heard of any of these people on Stratus. Or, well, I have, but Mango, Siren, common names. I don't know which one they're talking about. If you're watching this, Stratus, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that, guys. But you know what? They're going to put a show on for us, and we won't forget them after this. Because I think this is going to be exciting first round. Clan Blitz on Mako Mart.
Clan Blitz and Mako Mart, as the teams load in, we can see an Explosion and a Kenta Machine on the side of Stratus versus a Nautilus and Kenta Machine duo on the side of Rising Wave. Both teams have a Junior, and both teams have a T-Tech to round things off. You can see that already the Explosion is down on this Kenta Machine is down on the side of Stratus as Nitrous tries to defend himself from a couple people. He's forced to jump out, which is unfortunate that he lost that position.
A quick start on the side of Rising Wave, who did bring out a very mobile and fast-moving, aggressive comp. Hopefully they can keep that up, and they are still getting some frags here. A double coming out from this Nautilus player.
Yes, who unfortunately does go down to the Explosion. So both teams have decent comps for Mako Mart. Obviously, as you already mentioned, Rising Wave does have the more aggressive and mobile comp, but Sloshers are very good here on Mako Mart, so the fact that Stratus has 2 of them could make a difference, and 3 of the Rising Wave are down with a relatively minuscule push, if we're being honest.
Yes, a small push, a good defensive stop by Stratus here, and with that 3 down, let's see how they take advantage and get into position to make a push of their own. Mango getting very aggressive under the basket already. And a wipe on the side of Rising Wave. This is going to be a substantial push if they can find the clams, which I think they are going to do.
They're already down to 44 more points remaining. Probably make that 41 if that clam gets in, and it will. More clams going in. Fortunately, 3 down on the side of Stratus now, but a push all the way down to... Oh, it's still going! Mango managing to sneak 3 extra clams in, getting them down to 20 points, so... That's going to be a hefty penalty for them, but nothing a couple power clams will chew through.
No, it looks like Rising Wave is already going to be setting up for their next push, but what an amazing push. Really taking advantage of that wipe. They had the clams ready to get a strong push. You really, in Clan Blitz, don't want to just pop the power and a couple clams in. Take advantage of everything you can get.
Yeah, so you can see now that Stratus is really trying to push in. The splashdown jump is coming in. Unfortunately, it does not find anyone, and the splashdowner does get taken out by Mango, who manages to pick a couple other people. A full wipe now on the side of Rising Wave again, but they did manage to get the points remaining down to 45, which is not bad at all, and they still have a Power Clam in reserve, which will completely take out that penalty.
Yeah, so decent push. Stratus getting ready to attack back. You want to make sure when you're making a push in Clan Blitz that you don't unnecessarily lose your life just trying to get an extra clam in. Should the other team be ready to attack and take advantage of you being down, which Stratus is doing pretty well of here.
Oh, we have
down on both sides.
3 down on both sides. The T-Tech does manage to respawn. That push is effectively over, especially with Narrow guarding that power clam. Now, Stratus does have another one in reserve, but kudos to Rising Wave for putting up a solid defense, because Stratus definitely had a lot of clams that would have almost, if not certainly, completely knocked that match out. Unfortunately, 2 down on Rising Wave again. 3 down now, almost a full wipe, so that power clam is going in. More clams being brought to the front line to try and get those points down. One member of Rising Wave having to jump out, unfortunately, and that leaves the basket wide open for a KO.
And just look at the map there. Stratus really showing off how mobile they can be and how aggressive they could be. I saw that there. I saw Mango absolutely fragging out. I think they had 16 kills and really just taking advantage of the pushes that they created.
Yeah, what really helped a lot with Stratus is they had the Explosher and a Junior providing a ton of paint, which just really let Citrus, I think was the one on the Sloshing, really just go wherever they wanted to. When you provide that much paint support for your frontliners, they're going to walk all over another team that doesn't have that paint support.
Now, Shads, what do you like to do? What's your kind of common strategy as we look towards Manta Maria?
My common strategy is if it's on rotation in solo queue, I don't play that rotation in solo queue.
Okay.
I'm not fond of Manta Tower. If either of these teams swap to a more traditional backline, I'm assuming we're either going to see a remix or we're going to see a C-Jet, possibly a sniper. Although, given that neither team ran a sniper last match, I'm guessing they probably don't have a dedicated sniper for them. And the sloshers are very, very strong here. Again, you can arc your shots up over the sides by that first and second checkpoint, which is very, very helpful for clearing out the bunker, for getting to people that are sharking in on the little ramp by the street.
I do fully expect to see both of those cancer sloshing machines coming back out, especially powerful of clearing people off the tower and being able to shark near the walls and hit the bunker.
Other than that, Booyah Bomb's very strong here. Inkjet is really strong here. So quite honestly, we might not see a very big difference in the comps from last game, aside from a little bit of shuffling on the back line. So here we go, tower control, Manta Maria. So we can see Citrus has swapped to a C-Jet from the Explosher, whereas Rising Wave has completely foregone the Nautilus and the Kensa machine. So now they are running double armor with a Kensa gal. So they have Booyah Bomb, Inkjet, double armor versus the splashdown on single armor Stingray, a Inkjet special comp on the side of Stratus. And that famous 10-second Stingray is already out and kicking.
The Booyah as well. Look at Nero. I think that's Nero here on the gal, getting very aggressive, pushing up into street. 2 down already on the side of Stratus. 3 now, and the other one is in sight.
That's a very nice opening, make that an opening quad for Nero on that Kensa gal. And he was really smart in pushing up to get that C-Jet. C-Jet is going to get Stingray extremely quickly, and you're going to want to keep that down as much as possible. Spoon having to drop from his perch, unfortunately, due to a bomb. And the Booyah is out, does not manage to find anyone. Inkjet is out now, taking pot shots at the tower, and we have a good old-fashioned Inkjet fight. Or we would if they hadn't run into each other.
And already through the first 2 checkpoints, approaching the first, with 2 members still up, they might be able to get through this.
They most likely will. That's a very good wall placement there by the Kensa gal. 1 on the left. Unfortunately, 3 do go down on the side of Rising Wave. Cesar is the only one left, and he is going to die as well. So that push is good and done, but 4 is a very, very good push on this map.
Absolutely, and it's all started with that aggressive positioning by Nero on the K-Gal. But Stratus is going to look to do something aggressively themselves, painting up mid, but they do go 2 down.
Yeah, they do not have as aggressive as a comp as Rising Wave does. Booyah does go out in the street. You can see the 2 people do go down on the side of Stratus again. They are doing a beautiful job in picking off that C-Jet, making sure that that Stingray does not stay up. Unfortunately, 2 down on the side of Rising Waves. Now, Nero does manage to pick Sun, so it's a 2v2. He's make that a 2v1. There is a jump, but that's not going to do much. Spoon is probably going to pick that person off. Yes, he does. So that will be the end of another push. But so far, Rising Wave is just doing a great job of really pushing up, getting in the opponent's face, It's 2 minutes 30 seconds, so we are halfway through this match, and Stratus, who was looking extremely dominant last game, has not gotten a single point on the board yet.
Even with this armor and Stingray, they're just having a hard time getting their footing in mid. Already 2 going down on the side of Stratus, and Spoon is going to be inkjetting, but really just to hold some positioning. It's going to have to go down too.
So that was so 2 people are respawning because there was a delay in them going down between the inkjet. Oh, there's the splashdown. Splashdown does not manage to find anyone, which is unfortunate. It does take Cam off that bunker area though. Unfortunately, the Booyah displaces him, and I think it might have actually forced him to jump off the map, possibly.
I think it did, absolutely.
And Cam's going
a little bit of a flank here, forcing somebody to jump out.
And Spoon managing to get hit one with Siren. Another person goes down as well. So it is 2 versus 4. It is in favor of Rising Wave not Stratus right now. The numbers, although as soon as I say that, 2 people have respawned. And Stratus finally gets points on the board with 1 minute 20 seconds remaining.
Spoon here on the left, looking to create a little bit of space with their jet, but ends up being the only one left alive. The teammates could not follow up with them. Rising Wave is just going to take advantage of that and get back into an aggressive position. We see Nero already in street.
And he's doing a great job with that wall placement there. It makes it very, very hard for people on the upper left to get him without being forced to drop right down into his gal shots. He's also been doing a great job just placing him on the tower in general. Well, firefight 2v1. One pops down in the street, forcing Nero to pop that Booyah. Unfortunately, it's not managed to find anyone with it, but it does force people out a little bit. And he manages to get it, essentially a trade before we're going down. So it's a 2v2, now 3v2. Move in terms of people down on each team.
Once again, a crucial stop by Stratus. Hopefully thinking about how they can turn that stop into a push, but Rising Wave is already ready with the defense. Both have one down.
Citrus did a good job to pick that inkjet there. Two down on each team as Citrus manages to dance around that tower with the gal. He does get a little bit of help. That bomb does not manage to take him out, which is something that Stratus is probably very, very happy about. But they're going to have to do a little bit of the B+ strategy. Unfortunately, it does not work out. A bomb takes out one, and then 2 people ganging up on the tower takes out Citrus, and that's going to be it for game 2.
And we're back to an even set. Stratus, who looked so strong in game 1, just could not get anything going here in game 2. Really good performance by Rising Wave. Very aggressive in a very, very organized, sustained push. They really didn't have to push much more after that initial push down to 4.
Yeah, Manta Maria, a lot of games will not go past the 3rd checkpoint. Also, what was key for Rising Wave in that game, not just was that opening quad by Nero, but also the amount of armor they got and the timing of them. Valo got 9 armors out on the junior, and then his compatriot Cam on the NZAP got 6, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's 15 armors in total, and all of them were really well timed, which really helped in those firefights. Moving on, though, we have Splatoon Skipper Pavilion. So what are your thoughts on this map? Got a weapon you might want to see?
This is a map that gives my team Luau a lot of stress sometimes. We're always thinking, should we all go down the middle? 2 and 2 down the middle and on the left or the right. I think it's really a map of such open turf. I think heavy paint output is important, decent range is important. I'm thinking as a Zap player myself, this is a place where I like to start taking out a little bit of a longer range weapon. I think about pulling out the 96, but getting aggressive too, being able to take their plat and make the jump over is going to be really important for locking out.
imagined Rising Wave was going to swap from their fast moving comps, so I don't expect to see a backline from them. They read it up pretty quickly. Citrus is taking a little bit of time. They didn't seem fully comfortable on that siege yet, which makes me wonder if they're going to swap back to Explosher. I would imagine that the rest of his team would stay roughly the same, though.
Yeah, I could see the knot coming back out as well as a potential option.
Nothing. Well, here we go. Splat Zone, Skipper Pavilion. We do see the double slosher returning on the side of Stratus, this time in the form of a Soda Slosher and an Explosher. And then on the side of Rising Wave, we see the Gal, Nautilus, Junior, and CDS. So both sides have an Inkjet. Only one side has an Inkjet this time. The Splashomatic on the side of Stratus is the Suction Bomb Rush one, which will be very helpful with the paint output. Stratus already capping zone. Unfortunately, they don't hold on to it long before Rising Wave manages to take some people out and then is putting down the timer on their own on zone capture.
Very mobile CDS work there by Seds. They're able to look at both top and bottom of the zone.
First Bomb Rush is out. Mango does manage to find 1 3 down on the side of Rising Wave, which is not a situation they want to be in, especially with how close they are to the beginning of the game. And Mango's going to move up, start sloshing over that upper part of the platform to try and keep people from going that way. They're going to try and force people to funnel down through the garden area, and so far it seems to be working. All the specials out on the side of Rising Wave that are available, but Mango in the back is going to drop down and try and get people. He does manage to get one before being taken out.
And a full wipe on the side of Rising Wave, allowing Stratus to get into very aggressive positions.
And that
Already
is not
down to 10 seconds left.
That is not something you want to see that late in the game. I don't think Rising Wave is just going to have enough time to get back into zone, and they do not. So that was a very, very quick and clean game.
Great game by Stratus. You do not want to get wiped on this map. Hard to get back in, and like we saw, you can funnel them exactly where you want them to go. Mango getting a crucial trade that led to the wipe on the side of Rising Wave. That's 2-1 for Stratus.
Yeah, they had a really good comp, very high paint output. They had 2 bomb rushes, they had the Junior, they had the Explorer. I don't know if we saw the special from the Explorer, but I believe that was the one with bubbles. So
Nope.
a lot of area control, a lot of chip damage between the burst bomb rush, the burst bomb that the Splash had, and the Explorer. Just overall, a really good comp for the map and mode.
A good comp, and all 3 of these games were very one-sided. The set ended up going to Stratus, but Rising Wave also looked dominant when it was the right combination for them. Tower control on Manta. I think both of these teams show a lot of promise. Stratus taking advantage of the set.
Yeah, so congrats to them as we move on. I don't know if we're ready for the next match or not, so we'll probably go to a break, but before we do, Ugo, we just want to remind everyone that we have staff applications still open. We are looking for production team members and opening applications for future tournaments in other regions, such as the EU and Oceania. If you are interested in staffing these regions, please fill out the form that I'm going to just paste it into the chat in a minute. If you are interested in more than one area, you can fill them out as many times as you want. Here you go, everyone. We would love to have you on board.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for posting that, and we hope to see some new faces soon. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SOS. We're in round 3 of group stages, and we have Illmatic versus Zaddy. I'm here with Shads. Shads, how are you?
Doing great. We've had some great matches. This one is going to be fun. I see Villy's name on Zaddy's roster. Villy is a great player. Mostly I've been seeing him playing a roller lately, which has been very, very fun to watch. Dragonif is on Illmatic's roster for tonight. He must be subbing for them. Drak is very good charger, big proponent of the vanilla Splatterscope weapon. It's his favorite one. As far as I know, anyways. He might have had a difference of opinion about Firefin since he's been using it to get to max paint on it, but he hasn't informed me of that. How about you? You see any names on this list you recognize?
I definitely know Drak, famous for pumping out the Stingrays. I recognize a lot of these names. I think it's going to be a high-paced match. Two really, really good teams. Probably favorites to go top of their groups. It's going to be a good battle.
Absolutely. So we are starting off on Rainmaker Starfish main stage. You can see Drax spawning in with that splatter scope. And we can see the Charger on the other team, who I'm not quite sure what that name says, but he also has the splatter scope. Villy for going to roller in favor of against the Splatling, against Mini Splatling, which has that hammer. We can see looks like a Vanilla Dynamo on the side of the Illmatic, along with a Bomb Rush Tub and an Octoshot. One already going down to Drake and F Snipes.
I love to see a blob. I'm a huge blob fan. Blob's going to go down, but that blob's going to be interesting just to harass and hold down the middle. You have to respect those projectiles as they come out.
Yeah, if the blob is Isaac, who of course is very well known for running blob in this community at a high level. If so, well, nice name. Somebody's looking for a partner. See Vanessa on that Dynamo. She's going to try and pick up that Rainmaker for the first points of the match.
Push going to the right. That Toxic Mist gonna slow them down into the Charger's Ray. Don't know which Charger that is, but that will stop that push past the halfway mark.
Yeah, that was a really good use of Toxic Mist there. A lot of people don't use weapons with Toxic Mist, but they can be very invaluable. And I see somebody in the chat saying that the Charger is Latias, who is a very, very well-known and excellent sniper from Australia.
Absolutely.
She's doing a great job staying alive. Unfortunately, not able to get the pick on that Inkjet. And
good position to call out. Is that the T-Tech or the K-Shot? And getting aggressive, I'd love to see this positioning from a Dynamo, just holding down mid and clearing out. Was that a triple in the end for Vanessa?
I believe technically a double. But a very good double, especially considering that she goes getting rushed by two aggressors. Happy able to pop out some ink armor to try and help his teammate get back into mid. Not going to do much, but he is going after the Rainmaker. He's forced to back off a little bit because of Latias, who does not Latias, Draconif, who does manage to get him in the end. And that Hammer Yeet, unfortunately, coming up just a bit short, not able to get Drak.
Drak always with a Ray at the ready, jumps back to stop this push.
Yeah, he's going to hold on to that Stingray for a little bit, though. Bob, who I'm just going to assume is Isaac, is using Bomb Rush. Unfortunately, taken out by Latias. He does manage to stay alive from Drak's Stingray. Unfortunately, two going down to the side of Illmatic on Zaddy, and then Vanessa picking off the Charger, getting a very good pick there. She manages to catch Villy off guard, too. Unfortunately, looks like the trailing K-shot is going to get her. No, it's actually Latias again who manages to get that pick.
Was some great pace though by Vanessa to get the double, pick up the Rainmaker, and just get a couple more points on the board. Sometimes you got to be moving fast and be ready to go whenever the advantage strikes.
Yeah, 32 was a very good push for Starfish. It's not a bad lead. It's not the safest lead, but it is not a bad lead by any means. Stingray from Drac is out again. I believe that makes Stingray number 5. Or is it Stingray number 3? I'm not sure. It's one of them. It's not number 4. Inga right now trying to push up. He does manage to hit Vanessa. Unfortunately, he gets double teamed by the Blob and the Octoshot, who did manage to take out Billy and will probably get the Rainmaker too. Unfortunately, does not manage to do it. Just weak enough for the edge of that Rainmaker Blast to take them out. Now, Happy's going to push up. Unfortunately, Vanessa, who's respawned by now, is going to take them out.
Great stop by Illmatic here, and Vanessa in this position only really has to worry about Latias on the other side. Otherwise, nobody can really get close to that Rainmaker safely.
Now, but the armor there really saved her, because otherwise she would have been splatted in an instant by that shot from Latias. He does manage to get Ingite though. And that is a really good pick because Ingite is their main aggressive weapon. And we are in overtime. Happy is going to be running back as far as he can from those shots. Unfortunately, they do manage to find their mark, and that will be the first game going to Illmatic, if I remember correctly.
That's right. You saw there at the end that I believe I'm Single is probably Isaac. I think Isaac used to play for Illmatic, if I recall correctly. At the end, his blobs had to be respected. It was really hard for the Rainmaker to move. It's something really kind of shows how the blob can be such a controlling weapon, a positional weapon that can really lock down areas.
Yeah, and Isaac certainly does a great job with it. Moving on, Clamblitz, Humpback, Pumpjack. I would like to see the blob come out again because I think that's not a bad map at all for it. I'd expect to see more sloshers. This isn't really a traditional charger map per se, but I would assume Latias is going to stick on that charger. It is her signature weapon.
I think so too. I suspect the same from Drac. I don't think either of them will pull out an Explosh or something. That would be something else I'd expect to see on Humpback from a backline, but maybe switching off the Ray into, what would you do, Shad? Something like just a Bomb Rush.
Quite frankly, on Clamblitz, Humpback, Pumpjack, if I'm the one backlining, I play a remix.
Okay.
It's much better for Splatlinks than it is for a regular charger. I don't think Drag or Latias is going to swap off it though. But we do see Drag spawning in with a C-Jet bow, Latias sticking with the charger. Looks like that's the fire pin, so they will have the wall and bomb rush. We have Billy staying on a mini, now going to one with missiles. I'd staying on that Octoshot, and then of course Junior. Meanwhile, on the side of Illmatic, we have the Stingray, a machine, King Draconif on the Stingray, a pumping weapon. The C-Jet, we have a K-Shot, we still have the Blob, which I like to see, and the Dynamo, which is also very good on the stack. Unfortunately, 2 down on the side of Illmatic very quickly. And Draco is not getting the Stingrays as fast as I was expecting.
Well, with that armor, they're looking to pop this clam in. They do have some clams to follow up with, but it looks like not quite yet with the Ray coming out. I'm going to stop that, and that's 3 down on the side of Zaddy. Good stop on the side of Illmatic.
Now, Draco did not get the Ray very quickly. We went almost a minute without seeing one, which is rare for a C-Jet, but he did pop it at a very, very good time, and that was a crucial pick. Unfortunately, Illmatic is not able to really follow up on that near wipe. They did not manage to score anything. They do, however, managed to regain a bit more of mid. Ingai unfortunately going down, as well as Billy, who was just respawned. So Omen's deep in their base. If Latias can't pick them or Billy can't pick them, then they're in a good position for a jump soon. Unfortunately, Latias does manage to find them.
Yeah, good call out on Omen. Ready to clear them out from plat, and they're ready to take back mid, which they're already starting to do here with the bomb rush.
Yeah, that bomb rush is going to be very, very crucial for keeping mid. Each side has one. Isaac on his team has it with the bathtub. Zaddy, of course, Latias is the one that has it. She's going to guard that jump to try and prevent anybody from coming close to it. No need to do that because two people are down on the side of Illmatic, and Zaddy is the first to score. Stingray does come out from Draconif. Looks like it manages to pick a couple people off. But Zaddy's push is still going technically, although it looks like they won't have any more clams to throw in.
A good push down to 35 there. But Illmatic ready to come back. They've got 2 balls, lots of clams ready. Everyone up, and Latias down on the side of Zaddy. And they are already breaking that barrier. Wondering if Drac is going to try and get a jump in.
Opting to go for Stingray instead, possibly so Vanessa can get in to throw a couple more clams. She is not able to, so even though 3 down on the side of Zaddy technically, now only 2 of Latias respawning, and that was not a very big push from them at all.
No, when Latias respawned, did a good job of playing goalie there, just saying, we let you get the score, but you're not going to follow up with any clams. Doing a good job just pointing that laser and saying, this area is mine.
And Vanessa's trying to get that inkjet. I'm not sure she'll be able to do it. Oh, she does! That was a very good pick. It's hard to get those with such a slow-moving weapon. She's going to push up underneath that right hump, going to stop people from coming down. It's a very powerful position for a Dynamo to hold between that and a bomb rush. 3 down on the side of Zaddy. More her bombs are being tossed to try and prevent them from getting close. As Isaac pushes in a little bit, manages to get a couple clams in before that can happen, and then the K-shot jump is dead in the water. So a smaller push, but still, they're gradually chipping away at that score, and they're also keeping their penalty down relatively low.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a couple too many trades on that push. A couple clams falling and not being able to go in. After Vanessa was providing a lot of value coming out of mid, especially after getting that inkjet kill.
Yeah, Stingray does manage to find the junior, so no armor for the side of Zaddy. Draco in a very good position right now, pushing up a little bit, manages to pick Latias with a couple burst bombs, which is very good, but Illmatic just does not have the clams that they need.
Penalty is gone, and they could definitely get the lead here. I think they will with clam thrown in by Drac there, who goes down. That push might be over, but the lead going in with 5 seconds left is really maybe all they'd need. Zaddy is going to have one more chance at a push here.
Important to note that Zaddy does have 2 power clams. If those 2 power clams get in, then automatically they do have the lead. Not by much, but they do have it. Bomb Rush is out from Latias. The Mini is pushing up as well. 1 power clam in, the other one is going to be pushed forward. Fortunately, Billy is the last one up. He's going to have to make a last-ditch effort for that power clam. Not able to do it. Illmatic is barely managing to get the picks it needed to shut down that push.
A great stop by Illmatic there, which will win them the set in the end. That's going to be 2-0 for them over Zaddy. These were 2 great games.
Yeah, really strong playing from both teams. Zaddy will definitely do well in their group. It's just the absolute overwhelming amount of paint that Vanessa and Isaac together, along with, to a lesser extent, Draco, provided for Omen was enough to really allow Omen to just run everywhere.
It really was enough to kind of slow down the more mobile Zaddy team, letting Vanessa get set up, especially in mid and getting kind of into trench and by their bunker. is really, really dangerous. It got a lot of value for Illmatic in that set. 2-0 for Illmatic. And now we will be going into round 4, but why don't we take a quick break first, Chaz?
Before we do, though, we have some great news. Someone out there named Clown has donated $50 for the prize pool this week, so we actually do have a prize pool. Yeah. Clown, if you're watching, we at IPL cannot thank you enough for your generosity, and whoever wins will certainly be thanking you too. So thank you very, very much for donating to us.
Thank you so much. We do really appreciate that, and that's really what helps people get motivated to keep this scene going.
And that's not all. What else motivates people? Well, to play Splatoon, it's seen great tournaments. And in the waning months of 2020, we have witnessed some of the highest level Splatoon in North America and Europe from the second season of the Transatlantic Splatoon League. This Saturday, 4 teams will be fighting for Western Splatoon glory. Starburst, Rift, Freeze, and FT1 will battle it out to crown themselves the Transatlantic champion. Coverage of the single elimination playoff brackets begin at noon EST on Saturday at twitch.tv/endgametv1. For more information, follow Tassel on Twitter at TASL_Splatoon. And the Splatoon Amateur Circuit will be returning for its 3rd season this Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. EST, with Saturday being Swiss and Sunday being Top Top. If you don't know what SAC is, it's a mid to low level Splatoon tournament series aimed at teams Div 3 and under. Teams compete to gain points in 4 tournaments so they can earn a spot in the grand finals at the end of the season. If you can't compete, you can always support these up-and-coming teams on their Twitch at https:/twitch.tv/SplatoonAC. More info can be found on their Twitter page at SplatoonAC and in the SAC Discord server as well. Invite will be posted in the chat momentarily. So we'll be back after a short break. Please join the SAC Discord while you're at it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the top cut bracket, the single elimination bracket of today's SOS. My name is Drew. In game, I go by Coffee, and I am joined by the absolutely wonderful Shads. Shads, we've got a great set ahead of us here.
Yes, we do. We have Mictlan Heroes versus Universal. So Mictlan Heroes, a very strong up-and-coming team. Locke, if might be a name that people remember. He's a sniper. He used to be on Fiction. Fear, very strong player. Lex, very strong player. I'm not familiar with WoW, Dafter, and Cass, but they have done very well for themselves in IPL tournaments before.
Absolutely. Lau, a very, very strong Rella player, if I recall correctly. Universal showing off a very interesting logo, and they have a bunch of different free agents that have kind of come together as far as I can tell. Really some strong players. I recognize Jakob from Momentum, Mondo Nerd, a very, very good brush player.
Yeah, Wump used to be on Ink Zeta. Massaway, I believe, used to be on an Ink team as well, possibly Alpha. I miss Ink teams. Unfortunately, Massaway is not playing right now. Oh, from the looks of it. So, Stage 1, Splat Zone's Reef. What are your thoughts on this?
This is another classic zones map, in my opinion. I think holding down the bridge is the most important point. When I'm coaching a team, I say you need to escort your backline or somebody important who can hold down the bridge, because from there you can protect obviously their street, their tree, and it's really, really hard to break back in after that.
Yep. So here we go. We have Mictlan Heroes in the green, Universal in the orange. We have Lumfunded Jr., Ferreting, who I'm not quite sure if that's Mondo or if it's somebody else on the brush. Archer on the Splashomatic Neo, and a Kenza Luna Blaster, which is a pick that we do not see that often in general. And already 4 down on the side of Universal. We haven't even talked about Universal's comp yet.
I believe Jakob really, really enjoys playing that Luna Blaster, known for it. But this double zap coming out from Mictlan really paid off in that first fight, almost wiping Universal, and they're getting a good positioning here, but nobody's taking that bridge as far as I can tell right now. It's open. Yeah,
Mictlan has a very paint-heavy comp that also provides a decent amount of aggression. Ballpoint is the most aggressive backline that you can have. It is the easiest one to aggress with. And then double zap, which will paint out just as much as the junior and have a bit more killing power. And of course the Kenta Gal, which is quickly becoming a favorite in the meta. Universal, on the other hand, they do have a decently paint-heavy comp as well, with junior, with the brush, with the splash. A little more on the aggression, technically speaking. But so far it doesn't seem to be working out for them, as Mictlan Heroes is really winning a lot of the firefights.
Archer looking here for a sneaky flank in their main, keeping control just of that area, but an armor coming back from Mictlan Heroes. They're going to be able to chain those armors, and look how easy it is to take back that zone.
Yeah, that's really one of the biggest strengths of that double zamp comp. They are going to take back zone very, very quickly if nobody's trying to outpaint them. So yeah, coming out from the Gal, choosing to toss it on the zone in hopes to try and shred that baller. Does manage to do so. Ferreting does go down. It's 3-3 right now on the field. The Splash is going to bomb rush, forcing Lex to back off. Fortunately, he does not get splatted by it, and instead manages to turn it around and splash a splash. A little help from Fear there really helped out.
This pain-heavy combo too, the double zap is really making it hard for the Luna to get around and start sharking. Jakob isn't being able to get those crucial picks that you do want to see from the Luna.
Yeah, Brush is pumping out ballers, not really finding a ton of picks. I'm usually using them just to cap zone, and they're just having a really hard time pushing in. And really, when you get right down to it, Blaster requires a lot of paint. Brushes are great sharking weapons, but those require a lot of paint, and they are just simply not putting out enough paint on the side of Universal to combat that paint-heavy comp on the side of Mictlan.
They do manage to get the zones back here with the baller pushing Mictlan heroes back, but with this armor coming up, they're ready to push back in. They seem to always have an armor ready, and that is winning them all of these fights.
And we are seeing a very classic example of why double armor just has been so prevalent the past few months. And every time you have an armor to fight off, that is just giving the enemy more time to take you out. Fortunately, though, or unfortunately, depending on which side of the equation you're on, 2 down on each team. People are respawning in, but it's going to take a little bit for them to get back to mid. Locke is forced to jump down off that bridge as it gets taken by Universal. But unfortunately for them, to do go down on their side. They do have the baller, which is being popped in zone to try and neutralize it, to provide a little bit of buffer for them. Doesn't really seem to be helping, but they do manage to stall long enough for their teammate to come in and help them cap that zone. Universal's clock ticking down now. Not quite sure if they'll be able to hold on to that zone. They do have the advantage of numbers, though. Oh, Universal managing to take down 2 members of Mictlan heroes. One is respawning, but they've managed to pick off another one. Lex comes in with that Galvo and picks off their brush. And with that pick, they're able to get back in. They take control of the zone again with 5 seconds remaining. So Universal really has to make something happen quick if they want to get to this zone, but they're not able to. So game 1 will go to Universal.
Mictlan did a great job there of holding armor, letting their teammates respawn, and popping that armor when they were able to all come back in as a team. That paid off, and really, it looked like Universal, even though they could get a couple caps throughout that game, were never able to get a solid hold on turf control in general. It was very easy for Mictlan to come back in an organized way.
Yeah, Mictlan really had that one under control, I would argue, the entire time. Even the times where they didn't have the actual zone, they were in control of the flow of the match. So, we're getting word from the production deck that there's going to be a sub, so we're just going to take a minute, let that sneak in. Moving on, though, we are going to go to Clamblitz Inkblot Art Academy. Not the best map, in my opinion, for a backline, so I will be interested to see if Mictlan will abandon the backline. They did swap out Locke, who was playing the ballpoint last match, and he's been played with Dafter now. So it could be possible that they're going for a no backline comp, just like Universal had.
Clamblitz on Inkblot, it's really easy on this map to get a counter push going because the distance from basket to basket is so short. I think being able to move fast and position yourself quickly is going to be really crucial here. I agree that backline isn't the most valuable here. I think it's going to be how hard you can really lock down the opposing team's plat and also clear out your own to stop that push.
Yeah, it's really going to be taking back your plat. That's the key here, because if an opponent does get a push in, they are able to get up onto the right side of the upper area of your plat using the inkable wall there. And if you get locked out, that is absolutely devastating on this map. But here we go, Inkblot Art Academy, Clamblitz. Time to play some football. American football, that is. And I see, much to my delight, a Squiffer. We have a Squiffer on the side of Universal. The classic Swift has point sensors and armor, paired with a remix in Octo Brush, a Kenza Octo Brush, and a NZAP versus Mictlan Heroes Zap Vanilla Slosher, Nautilus, and Kensigal. So definitely a very aggressive attack from Mictlan heroes. Universal has more of a painting comp.
Some trades coming out at the start of this game. Although Universal has most control of mid, nobody really seems to be in complete control of this match. Universal popping armor a little bit early. Doesn't seem like they are ready to start a push, although they are thinking about it.
So
Taking that.
Sorry. So Universal does manage to get the first basket pop. Yakov tosses in a few plants. He's going to toss out a point sensor. So it is important to note here that Universal does have double armor. The Squift does have armor, and since he's got a lot of main power up on it, not only does he have a large range, he's going to get armor very quickly thanks to all that extra paint. Push still going, down to 53, 2 down on the side of Universal. Now to make that 3 down, Mictlan Heroes in comparison only has 1 down. That push will be dead. Very dead now that Ferreting is down, and that is a full wipe. Delayed. Mictlan is going to really push in. You can see they're building a ball on the plat right now instead of waiting for that pity to jump in. Missiles come out, that adds to confusion, and more clans are being tossed forward to their teammates.
You can see there after the wipe how quickly Mictlan heroes can come back in and start feeding clams, and that is because how short this map is. You can really mobilize yourself quite quickly. And this could be a potential knockout. One more clam to go, and it does go in.
So a very, very quick 2 minutes, 2 pushes. Very, very good. Unfortunately, Wump was not able to get that final pick that would have prevented that clam from going in.
So what we really saw there was a great organized push. In Clam Blitz, it's so important when you get into the advantage state, being able to push. Nothing's worse than when you get a wipe on the opposing team, but you have no clams. And Mictlan Heroes got the wipe, they had the clams, and they were organized, getting that ball together. And you saw a couple of their players still running back and sending more clams into the basket.
Another smart thing that they did, instead of waiting for their basket to close and get the pity before they assembled a pity on the other team's plat, so as soon as both baskets dropped, they were able to start their push. That's something that not a lot of lower level teams at the very least do. I'm not sure how well it does in mid level and high level. I would assume it's much more common. We do have another sub. We are swapping out. We're swapping out Fear for Lock. And we're back on. Or WoW, sorry, not Lock. And we're on Tower Control, Mantaria. So we're back here again.
Yeah, we did see this map and mode earlier.
I would assume they're going to have WoW. Play Splatling. I don't know if they'll go ballpoint or if they're going to go to vanilla Splatling.
We did see earlier how well Nero from Rising Wave used the K-Gal here, getting aggressive into bunker and streets. Maybe we can see something similar here. Certainly we're looking to see a Booyah Bomb coming up, probably from both teams.
Probably most likely. I didn't quite catch who was on the Slosher last game, but I would love for them to stick on it, if not necessarily that particular variant, then at least a Slosher of some sort. I'd assume we'll probably continue to see the inkjets from people.
Now this is the potential for Mictlan Heroes to win the set. This is a best of 3. Universal really has to bring their all here, where their night is going to be over.
Yes, single elimination, so there is no coming back from a defeat here. Here we go. Tower Control, Mantaria, teams spawning in on the side of Universal. We see Jakob on the heavy Splatling. Wumps, Archer, and Ferreting sticking with their weapons, although Ferreting does swap to the Octobrush Inkjet on the side of Mictlan Heroes. We see this after sticking on that Slosher and Lex sticking on the Kentagal, and we see a C-Jet, so we will see lots of raids very quickly. We are already 20 seconds in, and although it hasn't been fired off yet, WoW already has one. And just as I say that, it starts screaming.
Mictlan here is taking really good advantage of the combination of armor and Stingray there to move in and just capitalize on that space.
Yeah, already the first checkpoint they are going to pocket. Lex taking the top left to try and prevent Universal from pushing in on that side. You can see the Booyah Bombs out. He's probably going to toss it down into the pit area over there. And unfortunately, WoW does go down to somebody over by the tower. Yakka Stingray out now. 2 down on the side of Mictlan Heroes. Lex is going to try and keep the push alive enough to get through that checkpoint and is not able to do so before dying. So that push will be over.
Yeah, a good attempt there by the Gal to try and get through that checkpoint. That would definitely speed up their second push, but the Ray says not today. Back into neutral here. The missiles coming out from the side of Mictlan Heroes.
Missiles headed to Stingray, starting managing to stay alive. The Ray doesn't seem to pick anyone, but that's not a big deal. Oh, Mictlan will have another race soon. Yakka, meanwhile, has to hang on to his because his does not come nearly as quickly. And Lex has a very good flank into the opponent's bunker. There's nobody up there, so it's basically free real estate for him. Oh, but the Zap comes in and manages to splat him while he's preoccupied with trying to figure out how to deal with the heavy. Stingray coming out from Mictlan Heroes now. Unfortunately, 2 of them do go down, but that Stingray will delay that push enough. 3 down now, so that is a delay. It's not going to stop this push as much as they would have hoped, but it does delay them enough for the teammates to return. They will probably get the lead here. And Universal does.
They get that lead thanks to the space created by Archer, although he does trade there. The space at that Inkjet just to slow them back down as Mictlan Heroes try to respawn and come back in.
Yep, Lex now in mid, painting up. He does have his Booyah Bomb ready. 2 specials up and ready for Mictlan Heroes. The Booyah Bomb, as mentioned before, as well as the missiles. Meanwhile, on the side of Universal, they also have 2 weapons, Stingray and armor. And as I speak, the relative 2 specials from Mictlan Heroes come online, so they are ready for another push. They have 1 checkpoint in between the lead. They do not have to really get past the second checkpoint to take lead, although that is definitely preferable. Unfortunately, 2 of them do go down before a push can really get started. The other 2 specials have already been popped, so they're essentially wasted. People from Universal do jump back to spawn, though. Effectively, it's a wipe. Cass is on tower now for Mictlan Heroes, trying to push it up. They'll be able to get to the second checkpoint easily enough. Whether or not they can break through it is another matter.
With this Ray and armor too, they've got a lot more survivability here, although there's a couple fights going on in street, which WOOOOOO is able to win, but does go down to Lau.
Lau's first bomb taking it out. Unfortunately, he is the last alive, and he's going to have to back off because he will not be able to fight that deck. Not able to get it through the checkpoint again, which is very unfortunate, but there's still a minute left in the game. Armor out on the side of Universal Heroes now, and with it they are able to get 3 down on Mictlan Heroes' team. Only one left alive is the C-Jet with that Stingray, which will probably be used to try and delay the wipe enough, push enough to get teammates back into mid. You can see he's chucking burst bombs, his posture, and Zapper pushing up as well with the suction bombs.
Inkling is going to need to start thinking about how they're going to get this lead back here, though, especially with Jakob holding that Ray.
Yeah, unfortunately, 2 down on the side of Mictlan Heroes, forcing the Slosher to rush back to try and get on that tower before it ends. Easy pickings for the brush. Jumps become more kills for them, and it's a triple to finish it off for Universal's first game of the set.
Universal keeping it interesting, 2-1 right now for Mictlan Heroes. Maybe they have solved the problem. Maybe they saw what was going on with these very mobile, aggressive comps coming out from Mictlan Heroes. But we're going to be moving on to Rainmaker at Black Valley Skate Park. I think it's really important here not to get wiped.
Yeah, this is a map mode combination that is notorious for quick games. It is one of the maps where you can have a 0 to 100 knockout in 30 seconds. It's one of those maps where unless you have knocked it out, no lead is truly safe. We talk about some maps having safe leads. This map does not have a safe lead. Also another sub for Mictlan Heroes again. Fear is back and Dafter is gone. Probably no Slosher, which surprises me given that it is Blackbelly and Sloshers are very good here. But they might want the extra paint that a double NZAP comp could bring.
Good shredding power too for the Rainmaker shield, but I'd have to expect to see a Stingray from both sides just to stop those very linear pushes either on the left or right alleyways.
Really, that's what it boils down to. Stingrays are going to be here. We can expect to see Sea-Jets. I would be surprised if we see anything other than a Sea-Jet from Mictlan Heroes. I would be surprised if we saw anything other than a Sea-Jet or a Hero Splatling from Jakob, and I only say that because he is very fond of his heavies. And here we go! Rainmaker for Blackbelly. Will Universal be able to keep the reverse sweep dream alive? We can see that both teams now have that Sea-Jet. WoW has more special power up, special charge up, than Jakob, so WoW will have that Stingray slightly faster. The grand scheme of things, not a lot. His Stingray does manage to win the fight, though. Jakob goes down, and Cass has that Rainmaker now.
And 3 down on the side of Universal. If there's paint in front of them, Cass is going to be able to make a strong push here, which looks like they will.
Yeah, Mictlan Heroes comp is very mobile, very, very fast moving. Only one left alive on the side of Universal and manages to pick off Cass just before he can knock it out, but they already have it down to 3. So we're going to need to see a near knockout for Universal to get this, to take this back. Not a problem on Blackbelly. It is a fast moving map. Bet Mictlan isn't happy that they weren't able to knock that one out of the park completely, though.
No, but at this point, one of the only ways for Universal to win is really to get that knockout. It's a huge lead regardless of how fast you can push this, and they're going to have to be organized to get that job done.
And unfortunately, they left the Rainmaker kind of defenseless over on the right. You could see that Jakob was trying to charge up a Stingray in mid. I'm not sure where the brush was going, possibly for a flank into Mictlan Hero base a little bit. You can see Octoshot now inkjetting a little bit. Doesn't manage to find anyone. Or the brush, sorry. I forgot the brush has inkjet as well. He's all the way up in the base now. Unfortunately, he does only take down the Nautilus before dying, and the Stingray will most likely find a Rainmaker here.
They do opt to pick it up instead of letting it reset. They feel they have the control, and it looks like Fear might... No, I thought he was going to go left side, and he'll stall it out in the middle for a little bit here.
The left side is a very hard path to push up. It's not undoable, but it is difficult. The right side is definitely safer. Also very smart of them to pick it up instead of just letting it reset manually. This map is infamous for Rainmaker cheeses, and that includes running past everyone, picking it up, and popping it down on the pedestal before it can react. They did not manage to make anything substantial off that push, and we can see that Universal is going to try for a push on the left-hand side from the looks of it. Unfortunately, it looks like that Stingray is going to find that Rainmaker, and it does. Both teams fighting it out for top now. Oh, Universal managed to pick it up. They're going to move it out of the way of that Booyah Bomb, so Lex is going to have to yeet it somewhere random. It does manage to get it into the path of the Rainmaker, unfortunately not able to kill it. He hasn't really been noticed by the other team, though, which allows him to get a quick flank into mid and take out that Rainmaker. He's going to push up, try and pick off that Siege. Unfortunately, the brush is there to protect it. He's going to be forced to retreat a little bit. So far, though, he's doing very well. Forced to jump out, not a big deal. Ferreting on the Inkjet now. Now, just landing from it. Wasn't able to really get anyone, which is unfortunate, considering how precious specials are on a map this compact and a map where the action flows super quickly. Right now, it's just sharking, trying to see if he can pick something off. Unfortunately, nobody comes up for him to do that, so he's going to push forward with the Rainmaker instead.
Seems to me that Universal just isn't protecting the Rainmaker as much as they should. Maybe they're not sure when they pick it up which way they're going to go. Or Mictlan Heroes might be doing just a very good job at scouting and calling that out first and really swarming them.
The combination of both, Lex pushing up and getting that Stingray down right away is very, very good. Even though he goes down to the brush, having that Stingray out of play is a very, very good thing indeed. Now that there's no chance of overtime happening. Oh, sorry, there is a chance of overtime happening. Universal must have just managed to pop that Rainmaker before the game started.
That will be the game and set for Mictlan Heroes. They tried to stall, got called out, but they were able to get Universal off the Rainmaker again. You know what? It was just that one strong push at the start that showed us how fast this map can be and how you only really need one good push.
Yeah, so 3-1 in favor of Mictlan Heroes. They will be moving on. Universal will be going home, unfortunately for them. But we hope to see them next week, and good luck to Mictlan in their next match. And with that, I'm not quite sure if we're going to take a quick break or not to swap over commentators. Yeah, it looks like we are going to be taking a break. So from Drew and I and everybody at IPL, we hope that you have a great rest of the evening, and please stick around and enjoy the rest of our single elimination bracket with the new commentators.
Thank you so much for having us all, and enjoy the rest of the exciting sets.
And a pleasant good evening, coming to you live from the underground lair of the Inkling Performance Laboratory. This is Stu the Announcer alongside Popgun here on twitch.tv/IPL Splatoon with continuing coverage of Swim or Sink, the first edition of the new year. And Popgun, the more things change, the more they stay the same. New year, new format, but same high quality Splatoon. As we get into this set, into game number one we go. Couple familiar faces, Nolan and Madfish among them, going up against a, quite the challengers ahead of them.
Yep, and one player already going down on the side of Alter Ego, and I believe that was Alley Cat going down on the with the 96 on the side of Desire, the number 4, number 5 seed going off here. And yet, as we see Nolan right off the bat, I know you remember, Stu, last time we saw Nolan on stream that you and me commentated, they absolutely popped off against FT Win, even though they didn't get the win against them. But yeah, a lot of strong players in this game.
No, some absolutely crazy plays from Nolan, but that's just what we've come to expect from them on that K-Pro specifically. I mean, just an absolute weapon in every sense of the word. Am I talking about the gunner? Am I talking about Nolan? Or maybe, just maybe, I'm talking about this charger play that we're seeing, the splatter scope, making its presence known and getting these shots all the way across the map. And yeah, you definitely need your backliner to show out on a map like Snapper Canal.
And, Shy, obviously a very experienced player. The colors are off. I believe this is Alter Ego in the green and Desire in the orange there. But either way, yeah, we see... actually, that's a Bamboo coming out for the side of Desire. So an anchorless comp to go against that. But obviously a fast start for Alter Ego here as they look to get a little defense going up here as two players immediately go down for Desire.
Alley Cat trying to provide an in for their team. Going to have to avoid that splatter scope that has already proven to be quite potent. As Alley Cat's going to jump in. Going to try to collect as many of those clams as possible, but it's a mad scramble and they only get 6 out of it. Going to be enough as the barrier breakage comes through from their teammate. 4-1 on the map, and that's good for 32 points, but 32 points ain't good for the lead.
It's going with the 96 deco over the vanilla one with armor is an interesting pick, which when commentators say a pick is interesting, that's just our way of saying that we don't really know what to say about it because it's unusual. But the ink wall that goes along with that deco, obviously that's what Alley Cat is more interested in versus the splashdown, and obviously using the ink wall very effectively on that push there to help keep them alive to get a few more clams in.
I mean, it's such a thing. Whoa, what a splat there from across the map, and who else would it be except Nolan, who's going to throw that Booyah Bomb, going to get the kill with the gun itself, giving themselves a little bit of an advantage in continuing this push. Yeah, it's interesting because, that's interesting for sure. Taking the lead, gonna suffer a full team wipe for it, but nevertheless, I think that they'll just have to accept that. But they could come right back into this thing, and with that pity clam to jump in, perhaps, will be disastrous for Desire. And as they're gonna get this barrier breakage, whether or not they get anything else, I guess only Providence can direct, and certainly so can this individual on the blaster. Not gonna get any more, but that junior rejoining the fray, I don't know if they're going to be able to get in. Does not look like that will be the case, as the 10 missiles will come out.
Alter Ego, Desire got lead right there of 2 pushes ago, but they got wiped in the process, and we're kind of accustomed to seeing teams who get lead but get wiped doing so get absolutely punished in Clam Blitz, and they almost did just that, but Desire responding back quickly enough not to stop the push, but at least stop the bleeding so they can hold on to the lead. And it looks like they're in a position to possibly get a KO here. They've already got rid of all their penalty points, just need one more clam. Madfish has that one clam, just dunking and diving out of the way of the Stingray, finds a crease, and that's all they need to get the KO right there. So, yeah, once again, we saw them get lead and then get wiped, but responded back quickly enough not to completely stop the push, but at least slow it down enough to where they didn't get KO'd, stayed in the game, and found a way to get a KO themselves.
Yeah, and it's almost fitting that Madfish was allowed to do the honors there, creating such a diversion over from that little area where you see them just kind of scooting up alongside that ramp on the lower lip of it, and yeah, that's the most efficient path to the basket. So much focus on that they don't see from the side. The junior just kind of tossing in clams and bringing it all the way down to that count of 3. What else can Madfish do but toss in that one last clam and finish off the KO? Desire with a 1-0 lead as a result of a whole team effort there, all things considered. It wasn't one big push that wound up doing the case, but yeah, this is just a couple really good sustained ones that provided efficiency pretty much every single time.
Yeah, Desire got a lot of value of all of their picks, and it's because they got kills and they had all the clams they needed to follow up with it. You saw them passing clams to each other when the basket was open to make sure somebody built a power clam to get it in there. So they were getting, obviously, a lot of value out of every push that they brought out there instead of just death by paper cuts, which is not how you play Clam Blitz. But we're in platinum bracket here. This is the big boys. All these teams know how to play this game at a very high level, so should be used to seeing those kind of pushes out of these teams.
Yeah, and as they're recovering perhaps from the hiatus that we took over the new year, no tournament last week, but yeah, the 13th iteration of this tournament, pretty hotly contested in of itself, as we're going to go Splatzone's new Albacore Hotel at some point. There we go. These two teams, I mean, they have shown out on a few occasions. Specifically, the players that we've been talking about on Desire, and taking a look at the compositions. Yeah, you're expecting the range, but Alley Cat again with that 96 gal deco, and yeah, you said about what I was thinking when we say something is interesting. I can't figure it out.
Well, it's a comfort pick. If anybody's played against Alley Cat in solo queue like I have thousands of times and been destroyed by that 96 deco, you just get the sense of, like, they know how that version of the weapon works out almost as well as anybody could expect that weapon to kind of work out here. But I guess another not so interesting pick for this map, Madfish with Desire coming out with the E-Leader, going to have about 3 times the range they had in the Bamboo. But Madfish actually getting the shot. Looks like the Charger was just peeked out barely to the left of their own wall there, and Madfish taking advantage of that to take down the player, but 3 going down on the side of Desire. So Alter Ego able to get an early lead going here. And with Madfish going down, it looks like they might be able to sustain this for at least a little bit longer.
It looked like there was going to be another going down, but is just going to barely avoid the raft of those bubbles, and certainly the rest of the shots coming out from Alter Ego. However, Justin here, what we're seeing from Justin, I mean, standard frontline play perhaps, but still very effective and knows exactly what angles to take when throwing those bombs and maximize the effectiveness of those suction bombs.
Yeah, and not overcommitting either. You saw them staying near their zone. That ultimately cost them because there's no way you can be outside of the range of an E-Leader. And it looks like the bleeding will finally be stopped there by Desire. And that was a very good comeback by Desire. They were down in a 2v4 situation, and the last 2 players that were left alive didn't go and feed. Instead, they waited for everyone to come back. They went in as a team and were able to capitalize off of that one pick that Madfish was able to find with the E-Leader.
Now this is Ellis going to be challenged at least, but they have reinforcements. They're committing a lot to that one side. If they're going to make it happen, it's going to have to come from the right. However, Desire is going to take full advantage of that. Everything from the zone going on outwards, but Nolan goes down. That could be big. Are they going to have enough to take the lead? They will do that, but the recap of the zone is going to be crucial. Now you have to expand out. Ellis gonna have to pick out the points, and this is where shot calling becomes so crucial, Popgun.
Yeah, and Nolan going down there, that's still a good death for Nolan in a sense, because while he was alive, he was keeping the fight away from the zone, and that stalled it out long enough for them to find a way to get lead right there, even though they ultimately die. Keeping everyone away so they can't paint the zone. Got rid of all the points they needed to get lead right here, as we see Alleycat starting to get pincered by a splat and a suction bomb, as Ellis looking to get back into the zone. So here we go. Desire, even though they lost control of the zone, gained it right back. So they've been able, essentially for the past 2 minutes and about 30 seconds, held on to the zone for that long of a time. So Alter Ego's been really struggling to get anything established, as you see 2 more players go down right here and are staring down a KO, unless somebody's going to have to make a hero play if they want to stay in this one.
Yeah, the penalty is about to expire, and they're all the way up to 90. The KO looks to be imminent, and with Desire, it is not going to be definitive. Never count out Alter Ego. Oh my gosh. Definitely a polarizing act here, as they barely assess the penalty upon Desire. And yeah, by the skin of their teeth, Alleycat and company, well, or I guess I could say their fangs, regardless, it's still a little bit of last-second chancery from Alter Ego.
Yeah, but they immediately capped the zone right back, so all that effort did ultimately just bought them a little bit more time. The E-Leader does go down. Splashdown coming down here. That'll eat up one of the bombs that got thrown into the zone, but it's not going to stop these other suction bombs, which will have an opportunity to do something, but there's still too many players left alive. I say that, and for some reason, they just can't find a way to get this KO, and there we go, finally. So
at some point, you just got to charge in and take care of the E-Leader. Yeah, that's...
So Alter Ego, we said they had to make a hero play. They kind of did. Ellis went in there and died, but everybody just jumped in and kind of made a desperate attempt at the zone, and it ultimately was enough. But, I mean, you talk about from the time Desire established control of the zone for the first time, about a minute 30 into that game, they just never gave it up. I mean, they lost control a few times, but immediately took it right back. So never got wiped, never got pushed into a situation where they had to completely bounce and give up control of mid. So Desire doing a really good job of staying alive, or at least enough players staying alive.
Yeah, so as they go up by the score of 2-0, it's... I mean, if you're Alter Ego... you want to say that you're staying in these things, and you have, I would say, objectively the right strats in mind, but you're just simply getting outplayed. What is it that you do if you're Alter Ego? Because, I mean, you can have all the wit that you want. It only gets you so far if you can't execute.
Well, maybe just the change of modes will be just the Alter Ego that Alter Ego is going to be looking for here.
We can say that, but I mean, you could have said that about game 2 as well.
Well, this time around, we do see Shy coming out with the C-Jet, and it's just basically going to be Ray spam. You know, it's always funny because people constantly complain about C-Jet and Ray spam, and everything that the weapon kind of brings with it. But the fact of the matter is that C-Jet wins tournaments. So if you're facing a game 3 where you have to win, why not bust out a C-Jet?
Makes sense to me, and as this is going to be Enwall C, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, folks. If I'm not, please go ahead and make fun of me in Twitch chat. Regardless, that's Nolan gonna perch on up and make sure that tower goes no further, and then they're going to headhunt. What else would they do? They're Nolan, folks. Have you not learned your lesson? As 55 points that have been assessed, and it looks like that is going to be all, but Nolan does eventually go down, as EB Justin proving to be quite the formidable force as well in that K-52. They're going to continue the fight.
Slayers
here,
get all
up Enwolves. Oh.
Slayers get all the credit, unfortunately, but they do make the sexy plays that make the headlines. I'll give you that.
They're the plays that show up on the score sheet. You know, like it's I could go into a bunch of sports analogies, but I'm not going to. But
this isn't the audience. Yeah, we figured that out before.
Believe me, I could. I was definitely about to name drop Paul Scholes on a Splatoon cast. Don't think I couldn't. But either way, this is Ellis that's going to play a little bit out of the back and just trying to build up ink armor, which, you know, that weapon is known to do, Popgun, but at the same time, you also got to be able to get forward, and they're getting chased out just a little bit too easily, perhaps not the sort of assertiveness that you want from a frontliner.
You know, I was going to say Ellis was doing a really good job of sticking with their Slayer, the 52 gal. I believe that was EB Justin, but then backed away just for a second, and that's when the Slayer kind of got taken down there. But so far, so good for Alter Ego. You've got a checkpoint lead, which is, you know, getting past that first checkpoint on this map can be difficult just because it takes a little bit of time. But the real story is, can you find a way to get past that second and final one where you're basically a sitting duck in the enemy base? Ooh. So for Alter Ego, you want to keep the foot on the gas pedal here. But right now they're going to have to find a way to get a little bit defensive as Desire is getting control of mid and tower and approach this first checkpoint.
Yeah, and that was basically, as the C-Jet was coming back in, was about when they were taking the tower, so maybe not enough time to build up that Ray as much as they would like, as Ellis is going to take them down. And yeah, only 41 points on the board. They're not able to clear that checkpoint. And that is a big stop there by Ellis, able to sit back. And yeah, they're just going to kick back and ride the tower and provide armor for their team as soon as they are in position or feel threatened. I mean, I guess they got the armor off.
Yeah, and that's a good stop there. You know, if you don't clear that checkpoint, the score isn't like 45 to 59. It's basically 1-0 right now, because everything that Desire accomplished right there basically got erased as soon as they gave up tower. Now they do have a man advantage, or at least they did before somebody immediately went down there. So Desire forced, at least for the beginning of this final minute, to play a defensive position as opposed to trying to clear that first checkpoint yet again, as EB Justin takes down NASA, a very strong and experienced NZAP player, before going down themselves. But this is a good situation if you're Alter Ego. You're fine with taking trades at this point because you're basically just milking the clock. And the Stingray goes down, but it doesn't matter. They can get it back basically as soon as they respond.
Yeah, and Madfish trying to do what they do on that thing. Of course you're going to put the backliner on the tower. Conventional wisdom would say that, though. I mean, nothing really all that conventional about what individuals like Nolan are able to do. Going to try to perch up. And, well, talk about people making sexy plays. That's kind of what Nolan has been all about for the most part. That Stingray, nothing with which really to challenge it, but they are able to take the lead, and that is quite the point accumulation at the very last second. Desire looking to make this a whole sweep. Gets shy, rolls the bomb, and yeah, falls victim to Nolan. However, they do have possession of the tower. They're not quite out of it yet, but they are short as Clown, the blaster, goes down. And yeah, that is a full team wipe. You thought you could run from Nolan. You better think again. His desire is to get kills.
So I thought we were about to see a Stingray battle right there with the Charger on the tower and the C-Jet coming out. Instead, Madfish fired their Stingray early before Shy fired theirs. So that basically was forced Alter Ego to decide, okay, am I going to try to win a 1v1 Stingray or wait it out? And they chose to wait out that Stingray. And when they fired theirs, it was already too late. Stingray has been nerfed basically to hell. You have to fire it on somebody for so long before they finally die, and they just delayed the enemy Stingray long enough to where by the time it got fired, it was too late. They couldn't stop them from getting leads. So a nice decision there by Madfish to not just sit back and wait for something to come to them, instead initiated with their special, and that ultimately got them the lead at the very end there and the win.
Yeah, and you got to think that the aggressiveness that was allowed to Nolan to be able to get up to that elevated area as they were coming down and trying to get past the first checkpoint. Man, that just wound up being all the difference, and it was not by a lot that they won that game number 3, but certainly more than enough for the 3-0 victory, and that is as big a margin as you can get on that score. And when you look at the bracket, Popgun, that's the only score that matters.
You can't argue with winning.
You really can't, yeah.
And this is I personally like this new format just because I know you and me are going to be done sooner. But also it is a single limb, so there is no that's the end of the road for Alter Ego. But qualifying for the first ever platinum bracket, not too shabby for Alter Ego, and Desire will be taking on Woo, and I believe. I don't know. Are we? What's the? Oh, we're going to Desire and Woo, so we're staying right here.
Yeah. So this is going to be the semifinal round. This is playing for a spot in finals. Woo and Desire. Yeah, we saw a little bit of Desire, and that's a pretty strong team. But when you're talking about Woo, absolute killers on this thing. Omega, Cherry, Max, and Madness. That is a rough clip to have to go up against, but I mean, it's this is what this tournament does. It brings out the heavyweights, and looks like in semifinal rounds we have ourselves quite the prize fight.
Yeah, this Madness and Omega, formerly of Ascension / In Control, which disbanded earlier this month. I guess I can't remember if it was this week or last week, but
yeah, that's just what this it's been that kind of year, folks. But yeah, please continue.
So, but yeah, those players didn't go anywhere. We didn't expect them to. They're still here. We're still gonna see that crazy Nautilus. I can't remember which Omega, what weapons Omega is usually known for, but I mean, we're gonna see, like you said, more things change in different teams, the more they stay the same. So once again, the usual suspects here as we get closer to grand finals of Splatter Swim. Or Swim or Sink, not Splatter Swim. Who are they?
Yeah, you're already thinking about the next high end.
I'm thinking of other teams. I'm thinking of other teams that disbanded too. They took a dive earlier, so.
I mean, either way, the teams that are here, and yeah, it's kind of interesting how we've come into the age of pickups where you have these really good players, and now we get to see all sorts of different formations with these teams, and we've seen what happens when you get Bagel and Biscuit on the same team, and they just absolutely wreak havoc with the double Nautilus compositions. We've seen what happens when In Control mixes with Desire, or whatever the case may be, when Kyo steps into another team and just kind of goes ham with the slosher, as he tends to do. It's going to be interesting going forward because the entire scene is sort of shifting. It's this sort of amorphous blob that we're seeing kind of fit into whatever, wherever it needs to be. And yeah, as this entire scene seems to swim through the ink, it's going to be interesting to see where it winds up, especially throughout the early part of this year.
Yeah, and pickups are nothing new. I feel like we always see a pickup win Swim or Sink or Testing Grounds or something like that. So it's all honestly more of an anomaly to see an actual legit established team make it this far, like Desire. Yeah, for Woo, they are the #1 seed here. They beat Mictlan Heroes in the last round 3-0, which is obviously Mictlan Heroes are a team that has had some good runs in Swim or Sink in the past, running into a bit of a monster there in round 2 of this platinum bracket. So neither one of these teams might not have dropped a whole game, might be completely undefeated up to this point, honestly. I would assume they swept their way through the group stage. Woo definitely did. So yeah, somebody's going to lose their first game right here. So we should be expecting a great matchup.
Yeah, and to think of that this is the semifinal round is just a little nuts, but when we're going to see on the opposite side of this one, I believe it is Solar versus IDK. Another interesting matchup, but we're going to get Woo and Desire, and Woo showing out in the group stages. As you mentioned, yeah, not losing a single game. It's a little... You said you can't argue results, but Desire perhaps going to try to provide a refutation to that particular claim right now.
Yeah, talk is cheap, but W's do all the talking for you. So, and yeah, I did look it up. Neither team has lost a single game.
Well, that's just absolutely insane. As we get a look at the compositions, Cherry going over to that ballpoint, interestingly enough. And yeah, I think we've gotten a little used to Cherry spoiling us with their ballpoint splatling play. Madness, of course, going to be manning that Nautilus 79, and well, might just come down to who's more effective from that mid-range, and Madness going to try to assert their dominance just as much in the pickup range as they have when they were on in control.
Yeah, another thing about all these pickups that we're seeing is we see some, what's the word we keep using, interesting. We see some interesting comps here. Ink Brush Nouveau with Ink Armor and Sprinkler. You don't see that every day, but still a fun weapon to see. So we're going to see a very aggressive comp coming out here to match that of Desire. So Nolan's going to have their hands full, basically. Is going to keep flanking and sharking for a good chunk of this game to keep kind of bottlenecking these players so they don't have to take them on two at a time, and instead can take 1v1s all day. And Nolan has been showing that he can win just about every 1v1 he finds himself in.
Yeah, and the Nouveau, I believe, actually, Nouveau is baller, isn't it?
That's right. I'm perma. Is that what that is? But
you're right. Yeah, that was permanent. You're right. And the permanent is what they have, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I can't really see it. So you're right about that. Either way, it's one way or another, you're correct, and that is you're technically correct. That's the best kind of correct. That's going to be a trade that Max gets with Nolan, and yeah, that objective being pushed all the way up. That's 83 points that was accumulated. As Alley Cat with that splashdown. Well, yes. Not like Splashdown doesn't have its uses. Alley Cat definitely knowing that, perhaps more intimately than anyone in this particular matchup.
Can you, at the end of this game, can you just tweet at my wife and say that I am technically correct? That would mean a lot to me. Thanks. But yeah, here we go.
I make no promises.
With a huge lead in the first minute and a half, mainly based around that flank that Nolan did. Once again, bottlenecking these very aggressive team members on Woo. But here we see a jumping splashdown that doesn't catch anybody. It looked like they were trying to save their teammate there instead of going to have to back off. But two players go down on the side of Woo. Omega trying to push up here with the perma brush, trying to make life a little bit difficult for that Charger player, which they should be doing. You don't want to let that Charger get too comfortable, especially with the huge lead that they have, and instead backing off here as Woo tries to get a push going. But they might find a way to get lead if the two players go down. Even though they die right here, they can find a way to pop this and keep it going.
I think that's priority number one, but as they're going to be challenged here, as Woo almost able to take the lead, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. You got to finish the job. SpaceX is going to try to prevent that from happening, as this is going to be pushed out. I would think reset. Actually, they're just going to go right through midfield, and SpaceX going to contribute to getting that kill on that K shot. They're going to go down right in mid as Cherry finds another victim with that ballpoint splat lane. Going to be held up, but still in Woo territory. And again, Woo somewhat on the back foot, though they do have the numbers advantage.
Yeah, and
they go again with another push.
They don't have to get this lead all in one push, although they might just do that if the raid doesn't shut it down. They just got to keep going and just keep inching it forward, popping it, and doing just like this. And they do get lead off of that. And they might just get the KO right here. Whoa, swept behind everybody. I guess, honestly, sir, the Stingray shut down the push initially, but obviously that means they're not going to have a Stingray to keep the push shut down in its entirety. So just able to pop the Rainmaker and grab it with no threat of a Stingray to stand in their way of the pedestal. So not a win stolen, a win earned by Woo, but obviously a very nice push there at the end.
I mean, folks, you can't afford to blink. Invest in some eye drops, because if you blink, you're going to miss it. That's exactly what happened. And Woo, who were just, you would think there's a few exclamation points missing from their name. I mean, the spelling of it would have you would lead you to believe that, but quite a few being provided at the very end of that game number 1 at the very least. And Popgun, I think that might be all that matters.
Yes. Can't argue with results. So
True.
game 2 here, going to tower control at the Reef. I don't know. You know, one thing I will say though about that last game, I literally just said in the last set that CJet wins you championships. It's nice, it's refreshing to see a team win a Rainmaker game without the need of Stingray. Obviously, it's for some teams it's a lot easier to do it like that, but for a team to use a ballpoint and win a Rainmaker against a Splat Charger Stingray, it's just refreshing to see. I'll be honest.
I mean, it's an attitude that, frankly, I think North America would be wise to adopt. You see all sorts of, like, the meta of Splatoon 2 in Japan has always been defined by top players basically doing whatever they want and having it work. And don't get me wrong, I know that there is a method to their madness in making these individual compositions work. Excuse me, but you know, it's just, if something works for you, it works for you, and it's then on you in that individual situation to figure out how it works within the team. And if it just so happens to not have a Rainmaker, then so be it. Woo, kind of showing that right there. And really, when you have that level of skill with your individual weapons and your subs, who really needs a Stingray? You got it.
Well, who needs point sensor here? And Woo say we need 2 with the remix and the Squiffer here, as Nolan goes down to the Squiffer. A weird comp for sure, but obviously Woo, once again, a pickup team. You just kind of use the weapons you feel like are best, and a lot of mid range and obviously a lot of range in general on the side of Woo here with the comp. None as much as the E-Leader that Desire is opting to break out here. And 3 players immediately going down for Woo, as a Desire here, who has lost game 1, looking to get this win here to tie it up, is in a good position to clear this first checkpoint and possibly get to the second.
Yeah, and as they're going to establish themselves as the dominant force in this game number 2, much like they did in the beginning, as Madness goes down, Nolan again charging on up there, guns a-blazing, and the Booyah Bomb a-charging. This is, this is the aggressive Nolan that we have come to know, and, well, for spectators' love, for opponents' hate.
And once again, we see them, even though they die, they keep the fight away from the tower. They're going to find a way to hold on to this third checkpoint. Honestly, that's not a huge, it's not a bad thing for Desire, just because that checkpoint lasts about 2 seconds. So if they just come back to it, it's not a huge deal that they can just clear it again. But 2 checkpoints falling, that is a huge push for Desire, a winnable push for sure on this map. But we're going to need to see this comp. All these point sensors are going to need to find all these players for Desire, and they're just going to have to find a way to mow them down. Oh, they're doing just that, Stu, actually.
Yeah, and cutting through them like a hot knife through butter. That's Cherry with the ballpoint Splatling going to man the top of that bridge and try to provide all the support that they need. Better believe that the point sensors are going to come in handy too if they decide to venture on down there. A little bit of shot calling that the game helps you out with. Gonna charge up the Booyah Bomb and try to find their mark. And yeah, this second checkpoint, it is crucial that they stay on the tower, but not able to provide the support. They do, however, get the double, and that is a 2-2. Oh, man. I thought that they had the advantage. Turns out Madfish had other inklings as to what that was.
Yeah, all the range that Woo has can't even come close to that of the E-Leader. Madfish just kind of poking around that corner. We don't know how many people they were able to kill, but ultimately the last squid staying alive. And holding on to that checkpoint is huge. Having a full checkpoint lead with 2 minutes left to go is very critical for Desire here.
Absolutely need this one if you are Desire, and Madfish gonna try to provide everything that they can on
Madfish
that backline.
Too comfortable right now. Way too comfortable.
Oh, I mean, you give Madfish that kind of room. That's what he does. Takes out Cherry as the Splatling is going to go down, and Madfish. Oh my gosh, absolutely dancing mad gets Omega. And another one! Madness absolutely popping off! There is no end to the insanity as Desire is going to charge forward, try to add to the 81 points that they have on the board, and Madfish is a shooting gallery! Max goes down!
It's not stopping. Okay, they're going to clear this checkpoint here. A Booyah Bomb is coming out, so it looks like... Actually, no, that wasn't a Booyah Bomb, just Ink Armor. And Madfish ultimately died. They found a way to slay the mighty E-Leader, who has just been absolutely bullying Woo for about 3 straight minutes there. But now an opportunity, if Cherry can stay alive here, and they don't, as 2 players collapse. So the Desire's going to keep the pressure up here with about 35 seconds left to go. So, and Madfish going to get in position on that bridge. Already 13 KA with an E-Leader.
I mean, that is exactly what you want that thing to do, though. I mean, you exist to get kills from range. You have a limited number of shots that you can take per game. You need to make them count. And Madfish, what they have been able to do. Madness with the roll on the Splat Bomb. Nolan, oh, you really think you're going to let Madfish get all the highlights? You got to be out your mind. Nolan is going to go down to that K shot, and it's going to take down the splashdown. All they need to do is keep on that tower, but when you got people popping off in the backline like Madfish, you got to be able to rush it down. They're not going to be able to do so. Woo, that is troubling. Was that a C9, or did they actually just recap?
No, what I think happened there, I'm going to wait for the KAs to pop up. If Madfish got, okay, no, I thought Madfish got another kill, but no, they stayed at 13. So no, I don't know. It seemed like they're on the tower. Something killed them in Hop On. We didn't see it, but obviously the story of that game. Okay, sources are telling me Omega got snuck up on underneath the tower. It makes sense. But obviously the story of that game was just Madfish being way too comfortable right there. But I mean, what could they have done to stop it? They didn't have any missiles. They didn't really have any subs. They had double point sensors, so it's not like they could do a whole lot to disrupt Madfish. And instead, they just got way too comfortable on that bridge with E-Leader, and my goodness, just put on an absolute show for the stream here.
Yeah, just absolutely crazy. Someone asked in the chat if this was Splatoon wrestling. As God is my witness, Madfish broke them in half. Just nutty plays on the tower, being able to maneuver around and get those kills, especially on the bridge. And that is the exact last thing that you want to give an E-Leader, is time to just kind of camp out, get all the ammunition that they need, let themselves breathe, and take shots, because that's when you start becoming ducks in the shooting gallery. And yeah, Madfish proving that they do not miss those, handing Woo their first loss of this tournament as a little bit of a payback for game number 1. And here we go. This is like a metal concert as we are going to open up this pit, and time to start thrashing between these two. They both got tagged. Now let's see who pulls out ahead.
You know, I'm not an E-Leader main, obviously. But I don't think I can remember the last time we saw an E-liter being pulled out on this map. It makes sense because of the amount of range. But obviously, if it worked last game, why not bust it out right here? But Cherry is not going to have any of that, taking them down and trading with Nolan themselves. Coming out with the ballpoint Nouveau is Woo, so they'll have they'll have a beacon. So and they're sticking with the Squiffer. So it looks like they have an opportunity to put a little bit more pressure on Madfish this time around, but it's just going to come down to, once again, can they keep the other players on Woo uncomfortable so that they can do what they want to do.
Yeah, but now this is Alley Cat is going to try to cause a little bit of disruption, gets the coup de grace on Cherry. So yeah, that's again that Splatling going down just a little bit too early, and that's going to cause the ticker to go down for Desire as they're going to get past that 40-point mark. Splashdown is ready. You better believe they're going to come in with that, and indeed they do. Oh, you poor souls. That is going to be a 4-2 advantage. Alley Cat came in at just the right time, but now here's Madness. They're going to try to recap and really try to find a way in, but yeah, they can't exactly do this alone, Popgun.
Yeah, if Desire can find a way to hold on to the zone, yeah, every point they get from here on out is so critical. It's so hard to score points on this mode because if you basically just sneeze on the zone, it stalls it. So getting down to 25 remaining, even if they cough up the zone at any point, this is a score they can win off of if they don't get the KO right here.
Yeah, but they are going to look to do so right now. Madfish almost getting that shot on their opposition. They do that time. Second time's a charm, and that's going to seal the deal. You better believe it is just a sea of purple going all throughout Piranha Pit, and they do get the knockout victory as Woo are going to be sent reeling. Nolan leading the field with 7 splats, showing out on that K-Pro as we know them to do. But just a good supporting effort all around, and that's how you need to do it. You get control of that zone, you expand outward, and you lock out. Never quite that simple on Piranha Pit, but that's where the individual ingenuity comes in.
Yeah, we're seeing a complete team effort here from Desire. That time, Nolan kind of stepped up in place of Madfish. We're seeing Alley Cat getting several key picks to keep that push going along there, and SpaceX doing a very good job of doing everything else necessary to secure that KO. So Desire, it's not a one-man show for sure. Everybody's doing their job and taking turns picking each other up, and that's got them up here against the number 1 seed Woo 2-1, and now it's complete opposite from where this set started off. Woo's the ones who's going to have to find the answers here, and honestly, I don't know if it's going to be Squiffer and Nautilus together. It just doesn't seem like they're getting the paint that they need to get to be able to put the pressure on Madfish and keep everybody else at bay.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to go for some sort of middle ground between the immediate kill power and mobility, but I mean, you have the mobility maybe, but what else do you have? You're just not able to paint as effectively, I suppose, and that makes locking out that much harder. You become that much more reliant on those individual plays. So Desire at this point going up by a score of 2-1, one more, and they will be facing off against Solar in what would be grand finals. Solar, who has had quite the run thus far, maybe not quite as dominant as Woo's or Desires at this moment, but a team, when you're talking about individuals like Legend and Exy and Bless, all on the same team, you're bound for success one way or another.
And we do see Omega coming out with the Carbon Roller. I felt like that was a weapon that Omega could bust out here. And Tri-Slosher, so a little bit of a switch coming out from Woo. And I like the adjustment. Obviously, those weapons work out good on this map versus some of the other weapons they've been using. And it's working out really well here in the opening 30 seconds. Madfish, the last player left alive, might not get splatted, but actually does. And here's a Woo of a push coming out in the first 30 seconds.
And they need that, getting onto that higher ground. Well done, that Carbon Roller doing its job as Madness is going to take to the skies and go to the defense of the people charging in. 46 points on the board, though Madness gets taken down. And Omega going to try to continue the efforts, though it seems like that will be the end of the opening gambit. 46 points is going to be it as Omega gets pincered. The Nolan is going to pick up the scraps, perhaps a bit of a poacher's goal, but you got to be able to get those kills and get those numbers advantages up and rolling as Nolan and company will be looking to punch their ticket to Grands right here at Macomart.
I was going to say, taking down Omega earlier was really key. Even though there was just one player, they were off. If Omega had got a couple of picks right there, that would have just kept the push going even more for Woo. Instead, they come right back and get a few more picks, and the fight is being pushed entirely on Desire's side of the map. The players just can't find any way to get comfortable. SpaceX getting a very sneaky kill right there, finding a way to stay alive and take down Madness. That's actually pretty huge and will delay this push, and now flips everything back into favor of Desire as they look to get their first push going here. So a key pick there by SpaceX, looking to lead the charge as they try to get some points on the board, but ultimately might lose too many players in the process.
Yeah, getting that splash down, but yeah, that is a tough place to splash down because you're right in the pit. They can splash paint onto you so very easily. Alley Cat managing to stay alive despite the tight quarters. I mean, I guess it may, but Omega, I mean, alphabetically and literally will say that's the end of that as the bomb rush will come out. The chickens are being let out of the coop and the Carbon Roller being let to roam freely as well.
Oh, as powerful as Omega is with the Carbon Roller, you can't overcome a 3v1. But that does kind of slow things down a little bit as Desire is now going to get a push going themselves here. Mega immediately coming back and shutting things down. It looks like they will be able to hold on to this lead. And I was going to say this earlier, but one of the reasons Alley Cat keeps staying alive is they really are maximizing the use of their walls right now. And we're going to need to see more of that. Walls work out really well on this map. And if Desire is going to get back into this one, we're going to need to see more plays like that out of Alley Cat.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a pretty good. I feel like it's not a bad weapon in terms of supporting, and obviously the use of the walls and maybe splashdown to try to just help out your movements would help to that. But it's gonna get the double. Madness and Max falling victim to Madfish. Of course, it's Madfish. I mean, this backliner, no matter what the results of this particular game, take a bow because they may well be making the difference in this set so far.
And Omega finding a way to kill them through the wall right there. The wall just kind of came out at an awkward angle. Alley Cat being the last player left alive as the basket does get popped, and a lot of points going up for Woo right here in the final 50 seconds. Might be a KO, honestly. They just need to find a way to get a few more clams. They do have a bomb rush to work with. So Omega just can't find a way to die. 17 KAs, just 2 more power claims they got to throw in there. That is the KO. Omega, my goodness.
What
the switch from K-Shot to Carbon Roller paid off in spades right there.
I mean, you talk about hitting the jackpot. My goodness. Omega finding their victims below the basket. And yeah, you see the numbers. That says it all. 17 KAs and a knockout win. As, yeah, they were on the ropes, but they bounced right back and delivered the haymaker. And now both of these two teams are going to have their fates decided by splat zones on Skipper Pavilion. Popgun can't really state enough how much of a difference Omega was able to make, especially around the basket during the closing seconds, able to get a clam in right before the basket retreats back up. And that's them some good plays. What else is there to say?
A Slayer that also focuses on objective in 2021. What you it's not something you see every day. But somebody said what this was Splatoon wrestling or Splatoon WWE. That carbon roller was the equivalent of somebody just bringing out a folding chair and going ham on everybody in the ring for a full 4 minutes right there. Splat zones at Skipper Pavilion. I think you can bring out E-Leader back out to this map. I feel like you can bring out Carbon Roller back out to this map as well. Honestly, there is kind of a way you can cheese roller flicks around like the upper portion of mid on this map, depending on which side you spawn out of. I think you want to spawn out on the right for it to work out in your favor. But if you're Madfish and you want to get back onto the E leader, which I feel like they do, even though they were doing just fine on the Fire Fin, I think this is a map that you can pull it off on.
Well, either way, it's you have. I mean, if you have the space with which to do it, yeah, go ham. And Splat Zone Skipper Pavilion. I can never quite figure out this map, no matter what the mode. So I'm gonna leave the expertise to you. I will say, Max, going over to that K52, and yeah, Alley Cat, no surprise, keeping on what works for them. In fact, the only real change we're seeing is SpaceX going on to the T Tech. I didn't see
And
what they were.
we saw it off screen, but Madfish already has a kill, taking down
Oh
one
my
player
gosh.
at the very beginning of the game. That's kind of how Charger works in solo queue. You just rush to your like little box area and you just try to get a pick immediately. And they were able to do just that. But 2 players going down for Desire. We see Max trying to do something to take control of zone here. Ultimately gets taken down themselves. Do we see mirror decos here? Or actually, no, that's a 52. Kinsa. I thought we saw both 96 decos for a second there.
Yeah, your mind playing tricks on you yet again. I don't know what else to tell you there. Alley Cat is going to get taken down by Madness, courtesy of that Nautilus. Going to take down SpaceX as well. So make that a double for them. But Nolan going to come right back with the KAs. And yeah, the kills, they come fast and loose. And that is going to be Max catching another one as Nolan overextends maybe just a little bit. But that is their job, is it not, to take some heads? And Alley Cat says, well, even if it's not my role in particular, I'm more than glad to do the same. They're trading shots. And yeah, bodies flying everywhere. Taking a look at the scoreboard, the favor does fall to Woo at the moment. But, I mean, the impetus really is on Omega, particularly with that ink brush, to try to get in and make something happen on the front lines.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand why Woo was so intent on trying to kill somebody up at the very top of the map and Shrine. It's like they were just painting for special and they thought we need to go kill that guy now. Ultimately got suckered into a trap and lost control of zone here. And lost lead, but 2 players going down, so they'll take it right back. But I wonder if Woo. This is kind of an unorthodox map. I wonder if they just if they don't have a good lockout strategy yet. They might find one right here as they have control and they're starting to build up some specials. But yeah, that was kind of a weird play, at least from what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, just considering what Omega has been able to do with those frontline weapons, Madness is going to get one at the very least with the shot. Gets SpaceX as well. So yeah, that was Madness doing what they do best, showing out on that inkjet. And now Madness gets their revenge on Madfish, ironically enough. And as they could be getting this KO down to the last 5 seconds, nothing really able to contest, and that is going to do it. Woo punch their ticket to grand finals after being on the cusp of elimination. Pop Gun, they find their way back on Skipper Pavilion, and yeah, down by the bay, that's where they find their hopes. Madness leading the field with 12 splats.
Yeah, Woo just there was just one weird play that Woo pulled off there that ultimately cost them zone, but everything else that Woo did right there was basically perfect. They played that map really well, ultimately able to get the KO there. And it's interesting. I don't feel like they they had a solution to what Nolan and Madfish were kind of pulling out for them, other than just switching up their comp a little bit and just coming off the Squiffer and going back to what their bread and butter is, which is just roller and brush and Nautilus and ballpoint, and just it all worked out for them really well in those last two games. There is, yeah, like you said, flipping the script, facing elimination. They showed why they're the number one seed for sure. They avoided the elimination, knowing that there is no double elimination bracket this time around.
Yeah, I mean that is the saying. You only YOLO once, and that's just that's Woo realizing that and going in. They are the first seed, so perhaps you expect that, but going to be facing off against Solar in Grands. Desire's tournament not done, however. They do find themselves in the third place match against IDK, who themselves have had a relatively strong tournament. So that roster is going to be quite the challenge for Agent Corgi, Defi, and Storm H. But nevertheless, it's going to be a battle for bronze. We get to see what happens for gold. And as we approach grand finals, folks, I'm not sure how much time we have. I'm going to ask our producer, Kraken, actually, how much. All right. All right. And we will be back with grand finals action here at Swim or Sink. Don't go away. We've got one more set for you right here on twitch.tv/IPL Splatoon. Folks, we are back here getting ready for grand finals here on twitch.tv/IPL Splatoon alongside the one, the only Mr. Popgun. I am Mazer Stu, the announcer. Before we get to grand finals, definitely want to acknowledge that definitely some people might have watched the news and be alarmed. Then there's definitely reason to be, but we are in this together. Never forget that. I truly believe that no matter what it is, as long as we stick together, we will never walk alone. And I hope that you realize that too. Whatever it is that you lean on, whether it is your family, your friends, or this very community, please do not give up hope, because you look around you, you'll find a lot of things to be grateful for, and certainly we are grateful to have you here. So we are going to get into it. Enough of the mushy stuff. Welcome, one and all, to Grand Finals here at Swim or Sink. And yeah, Solar versus Woo. Better believe it's going to burn brighter than the sun as we go to Inkblot for Game 1.
Speaking of mushy stuff, Solar is looking for blood with this comp. Basically, a triple Slayer with a junior coming out. Xe, we sometimes see Xe come out with a Tenebrella, instead going with Junior, a little bit more paint for this time around. But yeah, Solar, obviously not too much into the peace and love message that you're all about, Stu. Instead, they're looking to get a lot of kills with this comp.
I mean, you leave it all at Inkblot. Whatever it is, you leave it there. That's all good in the hood for me. Madness going to take to the skies. You might be violating federal airspace there. Gets Xe, and yeah, they're gonna get Moon as well. It's almost like you have a sixth sense on where they're going. That Nautilus looking for Legend, but Legend says no. They're going to get taken down as well, however, and a slight numbers advantage for Woo as they're going to try to tick this counter down even further, already past the halfway mark, and they're just sharking there. K-Machine is going to try to sniff them out, and indeed they do. But yeah, they're really not able to get in that effectively. And Max right now with this K-52 is going to get Moon as well. They're just not able to find a way in, Popgun.
No, we talked about they were looking for kills with this comp. They just didn't get it. Actually, they might get it enough right here. Legend coming down the right side and getting some picks. So here we go. They do have a bit of a, well, I'd say they had a situation where they could go ahead and get settled, but it looks like it's immediately going right back into the favor of Woo. So Woo really been doing a good job with these lockouts, and it's been coming at the fact that they're just not dying. They're winning every 1v1 presented to them. And Solar, maybe the lack of range they have is coming back to bite them here against this like triple midliner comp that Woo is pulling out.
Yeah, and they're still not able to maintain the zone for very long, and this is Cherry and company trying to keep possession of the ball, as it were. Going to get those 2 assists at the very least with a full team wipe. Cherry's going to be allowed to set up those beacons, and Madness trying to take the higher point. They're going to have to cede it right away as the counter ticks down on that penalty. And as soon as it expires, that is going to be game, set, match. And indeed it is. That's game number 1 in favor of Woo. Solar looking a little bit perplexed there as to how to get in. I know that there are limited rows of ingress, Popgun, but I mean, just not a whole lot to counter them, especially considering Madness and Omega combining for 19 combined splats. Not a whole lot you can do with the numbers disadvantage that severe.
It's interesting. The obvious issue there was the lack of range that Solar brought out versus like that midline anchor comp that Woo has been bringing out in the last set. But that can be easily minimized if they can find a way to cut down like the distance or like limit the distance between themselves and Woo. And you would think, okay, an easy way to kind of cut down that distance is to use specials, and they used a lot of specials. They got off 4 ink armors, 4 missiles, a couple of bomb rushes, but even with the specials, they couldn't find a way to get into Woo's face. So we might see a comp change here now that we're going to tower control and Manta Maria, a little bit more of an opener map. That's the correct term. A little bit more wide open map. that might once again work into Wu's favor if Solar doesn't have a plan B here. Now, Xe can bring out that 10 umbrella. I think we might see that here. That might help keep the other players alive. But yeah, that's just great execution on the side of Wu there with the comp they had.
Yeah, and it really does come down to at the end of the day results, right? But you got to think if you're Solar, it's the process that has to matter more than anything else. What positives can you take away from that from zones on Inkblot Art Academy that perhaps you can apply to tower control at Manta Maria?
Oh, nothing. With how that game went, what you take away is what you know what isn't going to work against those guys, and I don't think
Fair enough.
I think they're going to need a little bit more range, and they are going to be not doing just that, sticking with the same exact comp, so doubling down. Once again, they just need to find a way to cut the distance between themselves and the comp. And Madness coming out with an Octo Shot, so it's not going to be as midliner heavy. So this might work out a little bit better than Solar's flavor, but they're going to need to get a good start here, and taking down Cherry at the very beginning is going to help things out for sure.
Yeah, Moon's going to have to do work on that K machine. I think they picked up an assist there to go along with the kill that they already have. And yes, they are going to be chased away by that Booyah Bomb just out of range. A little bit of an advantage on the field for them, but maybe not enough to garner anything significant as the other one's going to come right back into play, but the Octoshot goes down. Moon trying to dump as much as they possibly can onto their opposition. They will be found out with the point sensor, but that's small potatoes for them because they are past the first checkpoint. This is where it becomes so crucial because you are going to be stopped right there, and you are sitting ducks for whomever decides to come up onto that onto the ramp from the right of spawn, excuse me, as yeah, Omega is going to find Legend as well, and out they go, and in comes the Inking. More than halfway done on the progress bar, but still able to hold checkpoint number 2.
Can we just take a quick moment to point out the range of weapons Omega can bust out here? Squiffer, Roller, and Ink Brush. That's quite a vast array of things that this player can do at a high level. It looks like they are going to even up the checkpoint score here, possibly tie the game if not take lead. And canceling those splashdowns Omega was doing on the defensive end there really pay dividends to stopping the push. Is this Madfish we're seeing reincarnated? What is going on here?
It makes you wonder, oh my gosh, Omega, I mean, it's just like in the Greek alphabet, proven to be the end-all, be-all on the Squiffer, and the versatility that we are seeing from Omega today, nothing short of impressive. They almost passed the 3rd checkpoint, and indeed they do! With team effort piling onto the tower, they're going to get the knockout blow! It's 2-0 for Woo, and Solar on the ropes says they are not able to contend with the range of the Squiffer of Omega.
Bruh, you shouldn't be able to be that good at a Squiffer and Carbon and Ink Brush. That should be illegal. Are you kidding me? Now, once again, what made Madfish so successful with E-Leader in the last set? It's because there wasn't really anything comp-wise that Wu could do to counter it. Same kind of situation there. The Squiffer doesn't have the best range in the world, but when all they have is a K machine and you can just abuse your range and kill them before they get close to you. It's kind of the same situation that we saw with the E-Leader. So, Solar's comp, they doubled down there. That's obviously what they're comfortable doing, and it's worked out for them up to this point. It's got them 2 grand finals here, but this has been 2 KOs by Wu. And even though Solar had a better opening that time around, oh man, now we're going to Albacore Hotel. They almost have to change their comp here. Range reigns supreme on this map. It almost feels like they're forced to change something if they want to be successful in this one.
See, you would almost think, but that's we have definitely shown that success is only one of your options. Then again, if you're Solar, I don't know. I really don't think that you can continue with this rushdown composition. They have shown that they can keep you at bay from whatever the objective is. Doesn't matter if it's something mobile or really how fast paced it could be. Your only hope is. But in comes Exy with the tent umbrella, and we have seen them perform with this weapon before. And another switch off. That's a lot of symbols piling onto that K shot on the K Pro. Excuse me. Someone will explain to me what their name is, I'm sure. But either way, Exy coming in, gonna fall victim to Cherry on maybe a little bit more of a familiar weapon for them, the ballpoint Splatling Nouveau, and. Yeah, that's going to be the K-Pro picking up the splat on Madness. And as the opening proceedings pile on, Green immediately takes control of the mid, which means Solar are going to have to counterpunch here.
Yeah, and we talked about they had to change their comp. They did there. They got the Pro, they got the Nautilus. We expected to see a tent at some point, so this is obviously a really good situation to bring it out. As we see Solar getting into control of mid here. Madness going down to a Splat Bomb. And yeah, we have no idea who this player is. I'm sure everyone in chat knows every Smurf name ever for every player. But whoever this mathematical equation monster is starting to pop off right now. And the Solar has a window here to do some damage.
Yeah, all the brackets and the whatever variable is looking like PEMDAS out here, but whatever it is certainly looking to be a problem for their opposition. As Woo have kind of been taken aback by this K-Pro, all things considered. Max able to try to retake midfield, eventually getting the kill on the Pro, but this is it still has not been easy for the individuals who have been up 2-0 up to this point. Max gonna try to get a kill with the Booyah Bomb, and indeed gonna find the unknown whatever the heck that is. We got to come up with a better name than that. Either way, Legend. See, there you go. All capital letters, easy to read. That's what I'm talking about.
Very legible, indeed.
Allow me to make the commentary all about me, Popgun.
Honestly, that was a nice pick Legend got as the spectator cam switched over to them, because it was a 1v4 situation, and taking down that lead player kind of forced everybody from Woo to back up there, and now ultimately. With the help of all their teammates coming back in, it's Solar that's pushing up here, and Legend making a name for themselves with the ball point of Cherry being the last one left alive, and is honestly in a good position to shut down this push yet again. So points will go up on the board, and probably not more than just this initial push and a few clams, honestly, though. So a very defensive game from both teams at this point. We might either see just one really big push or just a very low-scoring Clan Blitz game without shaping out so far.
Could very well be the case. We have seen one gigantic push be the entire difference, particularly on New Albacore Hotel. When you are able to get in and maintain within your enemies, like around your enemy's spawn, then you're generally good. That's gonna be Moon settling for a trade on Omega, but you got that Squiffer off the higher ground, and that's a barrier breakage that Madness is just going to have to deal with. They're gonna take out the beacon at the very least, but yeah, Moon in possession of a power clam, and I think there's another one waiting in the wings, but either way, it's gonna be a tough ask to just jump on in with all the bit of coordination, unless you take out that 10 umbrella. 3-1 on the map. That's actually a staggered wipe. The K machine perhaps has a chance to make a play here, but this is going to be one big push, and just like that, Woo are able to take the lead. Madness is going to try to get this kill on the Nautilus. They're not going to be successful. It's going to be 4-4 right around the basket, but yeah, 71 points accumulated, able to get a trade somehow, and Exy finally going to help stop the bleeding, but even then, no, that's 83 points thus far for Woo, and a huge play. Woo, that is absolutely crucial, potentially going up 3-0 on the back of a monstrous 83-point effort.
Yeah, very, very patient push right there. They waited for that one pitch that they could hit a grand slam with, and it finally came, and it came at just the perfect time. Because now there's only 20 seconds left here, but one player going down, and a lot of specials coming out from Woo, and it looks like Solar will survive it, at least initially, as one player, Max, going down. Xe trying to find a way to get another Tenebrella shield that they can move in with. Only one player left alive, and Moon in a awkward 1v1. That splashdown might cost them the power, but it barely lands on the other side, so they save it. And that keeps the game going, honestly. Actually, no, they do have a Mercy Clam to work with. Moon taking down one player, but they're running out of time. They need to stop fighting and get those clams in there now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Oh, but they're down 4-2. Omega's positioned perfectly. They're sitting ducks. They can't possibly make this happen. Omega gets the snipe on Legend. And Xe, there's only so much you can do with the Tenebrella, pushing forward valiantly, but there's only so much. Woo will go up by a score of 3-0. They tried everything they could to make that happen, but Woo putting the clamps down by the basket when the going got tough. Every last one on their team in double digits with splats, but Madness showing out the biggest, 15 on the Nautilus.
That was for Woo, that was a very turtle aggressive play style that they had there, at least for that game. If you if anybody here remembers the November Low Ink Valhalla versus Blue Ring Kraken, Valhalla kind of gave a textbook example, at least from the lower level, of how to win basically by only doing one push for the whole game and then just turtling up for the rest of it. Woo just kind of showed it there at a higher level of how to just shut down little pushes, give up little pushes at a time. But when that one opportunity comes for you to just hit a grand slam, they swung perfectly and did just that. And the question now for Solar is, the map basically forced them into that longer range comp, and I feel like that worked out better for them against what Woo has been doing. But now that they're going to Rainmaker, are they going to switch back to what they were doing in games 1 and 2? It might work out for them a little bit better, more mobility on a mode like Rainmaker. But something, I mean, you've basically been KO'd for 3 games here. I mean, that last one seemed like a KO in one push, even though it wasn't technically. But Solar has to change something here, and I feel like they're going to go back to the comps they were doing before. And I don't know. I mean, it might work for Rainmaker. I just don't know.
I mean, it makes you wonder, right? Because you had that super quick in your face composition. If you're Moon at the very least, and really all of Solar. It's a little ironic that the person named Moon is on Solar, isn't it? But nevertheless, it only took us 4 games to catch that. But whatever the case may be, Wrestle Kingdom might have been this past weekend, but it's always time for a little bit of the Rainmaker, as Moon gonna try to get the fizzy bombs going at range and gonna get tagged with that point sensor. Really just trying to establish position and find the ins and outs. We have seen Xe find some success with the Tenebrella on this one, but they're deciding to go with the Junior as Woo completely wipes them.
Yeah, and what do we see on the side of Woo? The tournament-winning weapon, the Sea-Jet. And it's coming out right here as a... It looks like the Rainmaker carrier is the Sea-Jet, so we won't have a Stingray to support this push. But damage done, 38 points remaining, and a potential possibility here to keep this push going even more as Madness is taking a fight with Moon here away from the Rainmaker. Sneak it up into the base, and it looks like there's a lot of orange around the Rainmaker right there. So, but damage done nonetheless. If you're Woo, you can just Stingray this one all the way to a tournament title right here.
I mean, sorry to sound like everyone's dad, but defense does win championships, and what else could you possibly need in terms of a defensive option on Rainmaker but the Sea-Jet? You can move around a little bit. You got plenty of range. You can ink fast enough to garner that Stingray. It seems like a decent option to me, and Cherry is going to try to exercise it to its fullest extent. Certainly, with that with the Stingray, trying to target the Rainmaker. Gonna stagger it just a little bit, trying to get the splat on them. Gonna wind up being the assist. I mean, you wound up making it work come hell or high water. You gotta respect it, but Cherry perhaps thinking it could have happened a little bit sooner. I don't think they're gonna lose any sleep over it though.
You know, Cherry was under attack right there, but Stingray is like a team special. That Madness, I believe that was, on the Nautilus did a really good job of defending Cherry and kept them alive long enough so that they could fire that Stingray that forced the Rainmaker to be going basically this route on the opposite side of the map, the slower route where they can't score as many points quickly. And now this becomes a good defensive push for them. They're taking it left, obviously with the intent of trying to add to their lead, but more so with the mindset of if they die, the Rainmaker is going to be farther away from mid, and it's going to be a little bit easier for them to hold on to the lead by
Omega
doing pushes to the left here.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. It's a cheeky idea, and you're clearly in no particular rush to try to push this forward until you get the opportunity. You're just going to go right up there and squidbag in their face. You got to love it. Omega with the all-elite moves. You got to appreciate that. Moon going to get the splat on Madness, and going to get another one as Max super jumps right into the death throes of that K-Machine. Moon, Solar, they're not showing to be out of it yet. They are still fighting. They need to get points on the board to try to counteract this 73-24 score line that exists right now with just a minute and a half to go. Moon trying to get the kill on Max, and indeed they do, but it comes from behind. The K-52 is going to administer that final blow as we see Exy on the Junior. They're probably going to fall to that Stingray with the Rainmaker, but it turns out they're just trying to jockey for position as they're coming back to the middle.
I'm legit confused where everybody is on the map right there. It seemed like that Stingray was coming from like not from spawn, but from the little court area there. So that interesting position, but ultimately worked out, taking down one player. And here we go once again. Woo is forcing Solar to play defense at a time where there's only 50 seconds remaining, and they need to find a way to create some offense here. The special coming out, the Booyah does take down Exy there. So there is a situation here for Solar to try to pop it in and get something going. But they're basically going to have to win it in one push here.
This might just be the most important 30 seconds of the tournament. If they are able to make this happen, cannot understate how big that would be. Not going to get a kill there. They're going to have to get the Rainmaker to reset. 20 seconds to go. There's a lot of symbols just lurking around there. And if they do get this, Woo, they're able to camp this out, but the Booyah Bomb is going to come in and splat the K-Pro at the very least, going up top. And are they going to be able to do this? That is a complete wipe. And to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo is going to take it. Swim or Sink 14 Grand Champions.
And Stingray, while it was at the ready, ultimately wasn't needed because everybody else was getting splat straight up without using special. Only 3 Stingrays, but once again, you didn't need it. You didn't need all of them. So a great win there by Woo to win this whole tournament. Obviously, a great set that we saw last time with Desire taking these guys all the way to the brink. They were the only team to take games off of Woo was Desire there. So other than that, a perfect tournament for Woo and a very impressive win here in this new format of Swim or Sink.
Perhaps a cruel twist of fate that Desire wound up facing them in the semifinal round. They are playing for third place right now. The score is 2-1 against IDK, worthy opposition in their own right. But Woo is going to take it over Solar by a score of 4-0, and as good as Solar has looked throughout this tournament, just did not seem to be a match for Woo. And well, that's the proof is in the pudding, and Woo are going to be eating good tonight. That is going to do it for us. Special thanks to the entire IPL staff, Kraken Mare on production this entire time. Definitely follow them over on Twitter at Raging Always with 2 eyes, I believe. Is that correct? Or you? Oh no, you're Kraken Mare on Twitter. Who's Crack? But that's their Twitch. I misspoke. Please excuse me. Disembodied voice of Kraken Mirror, please confirm that. Yeah, well, confirm it for me then, because I'm just talking to myself to the stream and sounding increasingly more crazy. You're gonna do this to me all night, aren't you? He's laughing in my ear, folks. I have to convey this to you apparently because for some reason, because he's cruel. You know what? You don't get a plug. Popgun, where can they find you on social media?
They could find me in the corner calling 911 is what they can find me. That's what I'm hearing right now. At Twitter, at Mr._Popgun. Hey, we kind of got started early. You were kind of going on a tangent at the start of this. I kind of want to echo that. I want to say thanks to all of you guys for watching these tournaments that we commentate on, not just because of the sense of like having a massive amount of viewers for this tournament or anything, but just giving us a reason to talk and have fun here with a video game about squids shooting paint guns at each other. It's a nice, I don't want to say distraction. Obviously, it seems like anytime me and Stu are on, we always just got to make a little passive comment, not just about what's going on in the world, but there's just a lot of crazy crap going on there, and we don't want to turn a blind eye to it, but we appreciate you guys allowing us to have an opportunity to at least take our minds off of it for a little while.
Yeah, definitely the world today showed that there's a lot of that there's quite a bit of bad in the world, but we can be the good in the world that we want to see, and we challenge you to do that. Do something nice for a stranger today. That's my challenge to you. So once again, the final score, that's going to be Woo taking it by a score of 4-0 over Solar in grand finals, losing 2 games that entire tournament. Those are 4 very strong players that, well, who knows what they're going to do in the future. But what we hope to do in the future is see you again on this very stream. Thank you for tuning in to twitch.tv/IPL Splatoon for this edition of Swim or Sink. Alongside Popgun and Kraken Mirror Production, I'm Stu the announcer, saying good night, and until we meet again, happy splatting.